Welcome everybody to another Worcester Council Theater 3000. It's just the two of us today. No one else wants to be our friends.
Lonely. It's lonely here tonight.
It's lonely at the top. Yeah, Brendan got actually sucked into Fortnite.
He lives there now.
Yeah, he exists on the Fortnite island. And we're happy for him. I mean, that's what he wanted. So he's been trying for a while, and we're very, very proud of him for making it happen. And Travis is, he's just too big. She's too cool for us now. Hi, Molly.
Just too cool.
Yeah. So
Hi, Molly.
we're just the boys, just the Disgusting Brothers tonight. And we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a great time, everybody. There's a shorter agenda than last week. Maybe not any less heavy due to specifically one item that's on there. So we're gonna see how this one goes.
Yeah. Plus, I just had a big bowl of gnocchi carbonara, baby, and now I am sleepy. Those little potato puffs are rapidly expanding in my stomach, and it's greatly diminishing my will to be entertaining or say anything useful. But we press on because we must.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Right. So the two things on this agenda that are likely going to produce the most annoying conversation are the long-awaited Worcester Police Department race equity audit, which there's just a ton in there. I got the report up right now. I'll just throw the link in the chat. Lot to dig into there. And then also we got our annual crime stats, crime stat report, which is usually how the counselors just lavish praise on the police department. So it will be interesting to see them lavish praise on the police department while this equity audit points to significant problems.
Correct.
So we'll see how they walk that tightrope. Clumsily, I will guess. Yeah.
Haphazardly.
Yeah.
With a defiant tone, I would guess.
Right. With their backs up against the wall. Let's see. Other than that, what are we looking at here? An impact of COVID-19 on Worcester with a particular emphasis on hotspots. I haven't read that report yet, but I guess we'll talk about COVID again.
Mm-hmm.
And then spring sweeping program, which is historically something that counselors like to talk about for like an hour straight.
Yeah, that's going to be an around the horn for no apparent reason.
Yep, it always is. They love to talk about street sweeping. It's like the less important it is, the more they want to dig into it, basically, as a rule.
Yeah.
Like this equity audit report will probably get held, but the street sweeping, oh boy,
nope.
Do we have opinions on that?
People might go into their second five on that.
Yeah, we'll see.
This is actually really exciting, Bill. We've gotten an exciting offer to promotion of our channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
The price is lower than any competitor.
Wow.
That's really
Thank you, Brian. Yeah.
It's all coming up.
It's Jess threw out another community sub out there. Everything's going pretty great for us, I gotta say.
It's all coming up, Bill House.
Yeah. Yep. Very, very excited to see where they stand on that, on this one. Because the only thing I know about the report is that it specifically says that they did not collect data correctly and can't make any valid conclusions based on it. So should be good.
Let's Here, let me see if I can share my screen here, because there's one part of this that is especially awesome.
We've got an exciting new find in our house. We've got a brand new golden egg. Yeah.
Big egg.
Big egg.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, fits so much candy in this bad boy.
All right. So that's awesome. This I'm about to pull up, not awesome. This is one of the weirdest attempts at perception management I've ever seen. So reading from here, this is Eric Batista's summary of the equity audit. Figures that will likely jump out at people are related to arrests, with Black community members and Hispanic community members 2.17 and 184 respectively times more likely to be arrested than their white counterparts. The numbers are concerning. However, it is important to look at these numbers in context. The figures are based off demographic breakdown. However, the majority of people being arrested are young. Worcester is becoming a more diverse city every day. And because the demographics of its younger population don't match the demographics of the older generation, when you look at the arrest data compared to Worcester Public Schools enrollment data, the populations line up more closely. No, it's not racist. There's just more young people who are diverse.
They're just arresting kids.
Yeah, we're just arresting kids, stupid. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't.
Don't freak out. We're arresting kids.
Yeah.
God.
So he breaks it down here. Black students make up 16.6% of the district, and Hispanic students make up 43.3% of the district. Black youth account for 28% of juvenile arrests, and Hispanic youth represent 48% of juvenile arrests. Like, bro, that's still not good.
That's the same differential between the overall numbers of Black population versus Black arrests. There's the same jump. What the fuck is he talking about?
That's not a compelling argument, dude. Like, that's you're proving that there is a problem.
God.
Yeah, so
that's I don't know.
it would have been better for him to say nothing.
What I should have said was nothing.
Right. It would have been a lot better for him to just say nothing. But we'll see if anybody even calls him on it.
Just probably in response to Eric Batista's cool response. We've got a hype train going, everybody. We got 3 minutes left on the hype train, so get those cheers in, get those community subs in, re-up for next month, do whatever you gotta do. Let's keep this hype train going for arresting kids. Yeah. Hell yeah. Whoa, we love to arrest kids.
More like the Twitch to cash money pipeline, right?
There you go.
Step over school to prison pipeline. This is a Twitch stream to cash money in our pockets right now pipeline. Take that, WPD.
Yeah, suckers. Yeah, so that's a very stupid response and disheartening. Real disheartening.
He's not really compelled to do much better than that, though. Like, they're gonna have his back no matter what.
Right.
So
yeah,
why would he bother? Anyone who points out that that's not good, they're going to be made out to be the problem. So,
right, yeah, we're just going to keep getting blocked by Kate Toomey over it.
I'll never figure out what she meant with that hemorrhage comment.
Yep. Yeah. It's like they should hold
one job.
They should hold him accountable. That's just a crazy thought I had. They should hold this man accountable. I don't see. There's no stream up yet. Curious.
On Facebook?
Yeah. They didn't have. Here we go. We get the preview. I will pull that up when we go live.
Dang. I'm reading the COVID report right now.
Yeah.
I'll toss that in the chat. And this is such an unnecessarily cool name for what it is. I quote, through 2020, WDPH collaborated with the UMass Graduate School of Nursing to train vaccinators for the anticipated Operation Warp Speed, ensuring preparedness for vaccine distributions in 2021. Operation Warp Speed? I didn't even know they named operations for stuff that nurses do, right?
Yeah, do you remember that was a Trump administration thing. Operation Warp Speed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like one of the only cool things he did was that I
don't know, dude. Space Force is pretty cool.
Yeah, great show. You know, I hope Netflix brings it back.
Oh boy, yeah.
We're gonna need Space Force now to, defeat Elon Musk.
Right. And his robot
That's a
army.
damn shame.
His sex robot army.
Yeah, no background newspaper reading tonight, which is
that's a shame. That's usually the best thing.
Yeah. Camber, I will not be at the roast. I have to leave town. So we will get it to you. I will get it to you if you want, or we can figure something else out. You can get it ahead of time, then you can wear it to the roast if you want, and just completely out yourself.
True. That would work at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Might be a good move. What else?
With any luck, public comment will be short tonight.
I think so. I hope so. Great job you used Fred Nathan as a header image for your story. Excellent work on that. Just want to commend your header work, your header image work as always.
Yeah, the YouTube clip I pulled of that is one of the most stunningly unintelligible arguments I've ever heard in my life. And that's the guy the city sided with last week over the 15 or so people who made legitimate points and cases as to why we should do a sanction encampment. They went with Fred Nathan on that and Mill Street. Fred Nathan racking up 2 W's. 2 W's for racist grandma. Grandpa, not a grandma.
Fred Nathan. Yeah. Did you see? Oh, what was they were award? Was that ARPA money that the city was awarded to
for Mill Street?
Yeah, continue the developments on Mill Street.
Yeah, it was just federal highway money.
Oh yeah. I know they were already counting on that money ahead of time, so they kind of knew they were going to get it. But it is funny that people saw that and thought oh, here's our opportunity to tell them to put it back the way it was.
Right.
Doggies, it's going to get crazier.
Yeah, that's not how it works. It's also a very open question whether that council order from last week affects road designs at all.
It doesn't.
Right? I don't think it has any bearing.
It's a request to consider.
Right.
It doesn't mean
the city manager can just ignore it. He ignores everything.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to immediately put it back.
Yeah.
That's the order was. Put it back. Hey, put it back. Attell's tweet thread was great on it. And laid it out simply that the reason why it changed was because it was dangerous. The street design contributed to deaths. As obviously you're going to have accidents and deaths because of craziness in general, but there's nothing you can do to really stop that completely. But the road design as it was before made deaths happen, and now this design is hoping to stem that, and that's a good
thing. That's a good thing. It should be an easy consensus point that it's a good thing, but we are not normal here.
But instead, people that don't live here care a lot. People that don't live here anymore and don't drive on that street, for some reason care a lot. So we get to have a fight about it.
So annoying.
Right. Every other street in the city works fine, but for some reason, Mill Street, you can't drive normal.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that guy who like violated his. Talked about his patients publicly in the most public way you possibly could talk about your patients. Just to say that he doesn't like bike lanes.
Yeah. What else is going on, Bill? What
else is going on? Well, Roast of Worcester coming up on Friday. I still need jokes. Please send me jokes.
Pitch them in the chat tonight.
Yeah, pitch some jokes in the chat. Maybe I'll include a couple guest jokes that are attributed to your Twitch handle.
Look at that.
Oh, also,
that's a pretty good deal.
Joe Petty had such a fun time last time, but he's not coming this time.
He refused. We reached out. We sent him an email, and his office wrote back that he is busy. And so Shaun wrote back to them, "Thank you so much for getting back to us. Please tell Joe he's a coward." So let's see if that gets him to show up.
Cool.
Yeah. I am writing jokes that either Shaun will use some of, or people can use, or I'll just record them. Here we go.
Council meeting.
Here we go.
If you can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the Star Spangled Banner.
I always get tricked by that. Who cares? Yeah, so my jokes to Joe Petty will be seen and heard.
Just DM him.
Yeah. We try to get sponsored by Ziggy Bombs, but they're in the pockets of big city hall. What can I say?
Unbelievable.
I bought Helldivers 2, Bill.
Is it good?
It's really good.
Oh, sick.
I think we might need to play it together at some point.
I know it looks so good. I saw some.
Bring democracy to the stars.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely down. Just been playing nothing but Fortnite. Just Fortnite.
Dude,
I'm so addicted. So totally addicted.
Are you liking the new season?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
The Greek gods.
Yeah, the Greek gods are a nice touch.
Much like on this show, I love to do battle with the gods,
Right.
Yeah, I'm just not a Final Fantasy guy. I got nothing against it. But I just have never stuck with me.
Yeah, honestly, the closest I've ever come is Kingdom Hearts. I never even try to play a Final Fantasy game, but I love Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is pretty good too.
Funny story. I was telling Katie.
Go ahead.
I was telling Katie this morning. I was halfway through my first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts when somebody broke into my house and stole my PS2, and I never got it back. I never got to finish the game.
Wow.
Never liked the game any better than that. Never got to finish it because someone broke into my house.
I hope they finished your save at least.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Somebody had to.
Yeah, Goofy's just stuck there.
Here.
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 Goofy.
Chat, let me know if the sound's loud enough if you guys want it
here,
up or down.
Okay, so I've asked a couple of held items on the privilege will be 8.39A, which is B, which is the equity audit, will be held by Councilor King.
Wow.
10B, Councilor Hida is asked to hold that again, and Councilor Toomey is asked to hold 10D. Councilor Toomey couldn't be here tonight because she had a medical procedure, so she won't be here.
She getting
let people know that.
Getting a brain added to her head?
HIPAA, Joe.
Next, we have the approval of the minutes of February 13th.
She probably told
2024.
him, make sure you say I'm having a medical procedure so that people won't
Right.
make fun of me. And guess
Make
what?
sure
Not
everyone
going to stop
feels-
me. Are they implanting a soul into her?
Oh my God. 10D is Kate's resolution to have tough sentencing
Roll call.
requirements.
Council Bergman.
Which is a very
Yes.
funny thing
Council
she's been
Florio.
doing lately. We
Yes.
saw that,
Council
I
Diaz.
think
Yes.
we was watching us
King.
with the
These, which one?
police
Are you
subcommittee
taking these collectively? I didn't hear it saying that you were taking.
on
Taking
Thursday.
item
that
5A.
she's really going after the DA
Oh, okay. Yes.
for these light
Councilmember
sentencing
Carlson?
Yes.
of
Councilor
thugs,
Nguyen?
you know.
Yes.
Council Ojeda.
Yes. So crazy. I mean, I
Priscilla?
guess
Yes.
it makes sense
Mr.
because he
Russell?
hates her.
Yes.
So
Council Toomey is absent. Mayor
Right.
Petty.
Yes.
I can see
Weird.
them having
Okay,
a
public participation. A person may speak for no more than 2 minutes, and they have
feud
on
about
the
it.
agenda. Unless it's a petition, you get a longer time. So
How long do we get for a petition?
2 minutes and 1 second.
Oh, okay.
I'm only
Oh,
trying to get
shut
2
up,
minutes.
Joe. You-
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Grace Ross,
I hate you.
10 Oxford Street, Worcester, and
How's
I
it going,
and
Emmett?
Sherry Stanley put in a citizen's petition. I know that the city solicitor in the past has said things had to be
Yeah,
worded as
Kate
an
is on the
ordinance. This
opioid
is
task
not that.
force. And
This
on
is a
Thursday, she
request
asked
for
if the
what
department
in
is
Congress
concerned
would
about
be referred to as
crocodile,
a sense of the Congress. It's a request
the
for
drug that only existed
the
in one
council
Vice
to go on
documentary
record
from
taking a
2017.
position that the city and the Worcester
That's
Police
so
Crocodile.
should
fucking
enforce
great.
the elements
It's great.
of the law related to evictions, especially by constables in the city. It's asking you to take the steps that our legislature has put in place to protect people. So it's asking you to say that yes, if there's the, what we keep referring to as the Police Reform Act, that is a really long name, but asking that the Police Reform Act, for instance, that requires that anybody who's going to exercise the powers of an officer of the peace to restrain somebody or to detain somebody has to have the training that our legislature put in place to make sure that people who have the legal authority to do that don't do it in a way that could risk somebody's life. The
Travis
legislation
on
was
that one.
passed directly in response to the murder of George Floyd, and it was to put in place to make sure that people are safe if they're going to be arrested, that their life is not also, or permanent damage, going to be a possible outcome. Similarly, bankruptcies, if filed
Slutty
and
little
you've docketed them, have an
95.
automatic stay that
Make a
includes any
slutty little
change in
K in the
property
transcript.
rights, like who gets to live in the property, for instance. We're just asking that that be enforced. So if you look at it, it's page 32 of the packet. And I'm not going to go through every element of it, but that's all we're asking for. And the reason we're asking for it is, for instance, the constable that we've been complaining about, who is not a Worcester constable and therefore should not be exercising police powers anyway, and that was clarified by the Police Reform Act that that would include any attempt to detain somebody. That constable finally ended up on a witness stand in housing court, and we keep getting told, go to housing court to resolve these things. Well, it's taken twice, and finally the chief judge let the hearing go forward. But when the constable said, oh, I'm licensed in Fitchburg, and yes, I have a training certificate, we then went and looked up the post-commission website, and guess what? He doesn't have a training commission certificate, and the judge didn't
Wow.
bother to ask. And he said he was
That's
licensed in Fitchburg, and I brought with me copies of the official list of licensed constables in Fitchburg. If any of you want a copy, he's not licensed in Fitchburg. So telling us to go to housing court is like saying, you know, go take a long walk in the woods, because you ain't going to get any kind of enforcement there. So we're asking you just to ask the city when they're in the position to do so, and the police when they're in a position to do so, to please
That's why I
uphold
gotta
our
look into
laws
that. That's
regardless
a good
of
story.
anybody going to housing court
Yeah.
or whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Lying to a judge is like not a good thing to do.
What's your name, the resident?
Unless the judge wants you to lie to them,
Fred Nathan Worcester.
then it's fine.
The drones. When are we going to stop talking about drones or any kind of reports about the drones? Let's face it, Mr. Mayor. If a child disappears,
What a power pose.
you have the dogs, you have the people, but you have the drones overhead. They will see it. If they ever get rid of the drones and a child disappears, the city of Worcester is culpable, I think, if they ever do away with the drones.
Comfortable.
It's kind of like when they had to defund
He
the
turned that
police.
into a 5-syllable word.
Well, the police do their job. Imagine where we would be if with all the officers that they're down, if they had to defund the police, where would we be? There would
We'd be
murders
exactly
every
here.
day.
And the crime rate has gone down.
Police are defunding themselves. There's 68 vacancies. And
Yeah.
look, we had less murders. Wow.
8-39C. When are we going to stop hearing this about to do away with the civil service? The police, the chief, the deputy chiefs have done a good job. Let them do their job. If something happens, then make a big deal. Until then, stop the nonsense. And
Whoa.
Mr. City Manager, if it's possible, the chief has already been acting chief for 7 months. I know you would like to have him here as a chief.
He's so fired up
So,
tonight.
please bless the city and name him permanent chief.
Bless
please.
the city.
Wow.
Thank you. Our
Bless
next
the
speaker,
city.
Chris.
Fred's been watching 12 Angry Men.
Good evening, council members. Chris Horton, Worcester. I'm here in support of 7K citizens petition. I've been at a lot of evictions, and my experience with the people who present themselves as constables is that they are highly
A lot of times
variable
people say that
in
though, and then they go
their
on
attitudes and behavior.
Hank's radio
And,
show and
uh,
go back on that. And that's where
and
policy is made.
I've had many occasions
think
where I have asked
that's a good
to
question.
see their licenses. I don't remember anywhere any of them actually did produce a license and show me. I've been involved in trying to track constables down to serve them with subpoenas or papers, and which is something that by law you should be able to do. And it wasn't just this supposed Constable Nunez, it was also Denise LeCoyer, who she had an office here, and then she had an office there, and had an office the other place, and none of them seemed to be the right one. And when we tried to serve papers on her at the place where apparently she did have an office, her colleague who was there, who turned out to be another person who presents himself as a constable, simply refused to take them.
Eric Barista.
And so
That's what those guys should have
the-
called him in that fake Buzz sketch.
holding these people accountable is extremely difficult. And
All right.
the idea that
100
they're
of
out
my
there
own
with
US dollars for anyone who goes
no
down to the city council
certification,
in the
no
next 10
training.
minutes and sack taps Fred Nathan.
I did an experiment.
camera.
I set out to see if I could
Just a little whoop, whoop.
buy a constable's badge online. And
Just fingertip, not that hard.
Not that hard.
I
Just a little.
didn't follow through, but it really does look as though I
Well, how you
probably
doing?
could get one through Amazon. I don't think they have anything else. That and something they did up at Staples, because there's no evidence that these people are actually constables, and yet they get appointed by a housing court judge who says, yeah, and gives them
Did
special
you guys know?
powers.
Well, I found this
And
out
Do we
that
accept that in this city? I don't
Nico
think
has
so.
a
I
shot
don't think
clock
we should.
for public
Can you wrap
comment,
up? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, he does.
and the mayor won't let him use it
Name is the
That's so annoying.
residents.
because he doesn't want to be mean to people.
Good evening.
But what ends up happening is that he's mean to some people and completely like
I want to share with
allowing of anything
you
to other
because
people.
This is something
And
that
that
has been
just creates what
going
happened
on in
last
my
week, which
community
was
for
a
many years.
multiple outbursts from people
And
that
I-
were pissed about
I think I have mentioned
time.
this to you. You could Google
He
the
more than
US
likely just
Census
wants to
Bureau
have that
report
power.
that
Doesn't
found
want to hand it over to the
100%.
public.
that
100%.
Massachusetts is the worst state for
But
Latinos to
but
live in.
he also
We have the highest
felt like he was going to have a
Latino youth
meltdown when he kept getting yelled
incarceration.
at last week.
And the list goes on.
Yep.
And Worcester falls right into it. Because as you know, the report that came out from Worcester State that found that Latino students are suspended and expelled 85% higher than white students for doing the
I think
same
this is
thing.
the I think this is the
In fact, we
take
had
in
a
South London.
principal who,
for sure.
a white teacher gave her a list of 4 names she wanted to
At certain
suspend
points,
because they
his
failed to
the developers
comply
won't line
the
up with the
district
cranks, and
policy
they'll be
that you
shocked by
cannot
that.
have a phone in your desk. When she went down to the classroom,
What's the
if
best
you
way to
look
describe
around,
the cranks,
all the
Bill?
white students. had
Crank
the
is
phone on
somebody
the
who
desk
spends a lot of
and
time
none
looking
of
out
them-
their window onto the street to see
I
what's
am
happening
pleading with this group
on their
because
street,
we need to come together
and
and
is just
understand
has this sort of
how the racial disparity
directionless
that exists
anger
in our
that's usually
public schools
prompted by
are
like a brown kid on the
affecting our young people. And I just
Yeah.
finally want to say, because I've been fighting this for many years. I don't know if any of you remember when there was that incident in South High where the 2 young men, one killed another one. That year, I was the director of Central Los America, and I called a meeting. The chief of police, the mayor, and the school committee.
Just
we
a
all had
reactionary
a meeting at Central Los
conservative
America
townie
to discuss what
who
was going
demands
on in
cruelty.
the school.
Well,
Because
We got lots
many
of
of
years.
those students
Thanks for
Yeah,
joining
welcome.
us.
high
Welcome.
would come to Central telling us all the issues that were going on in the school, and the administration wasn't helping them. And they knew this was going to happen. So what happened after that? I had a meeting with the chief of police, and he agreed, and we had an event that was happening at Central where police would come and
Thank you.
sit down with the Latino
you.
students and discuss some of the issues.
Thank you.
And-
You wrap up?
and Let me just finish.
No, you can finish. Go ahead.
It went for about 2 months and it was great. The students and the family felt really good, and the police officer felt that something was happening. Then one day I get a call from the policeman, and he said, "Ruth, we gotta stop it because the president of the
Okay. Thank you.
of the police union doesn't want it to continue."
Thank you.
It's-
Can you
we
wrap up,
want
please?
to have
It broke
You're
a
catching
over-
strays.
conversation so
No.
that we can begin
got
to
you. Thank
understand
you.
what's happening.
Thank you.
So annoying the way that he does that. Like a shot clock would be so much better.
Hi, David Webb, City of Worcester. We've got a lot of different accountability on the table tonight. Let's start with 7K. Citizens request that City Council hold the expectation that Worcester Police will enforce the law, both criminal statutes and their obligations under the Police Reform Act as to evictions as described in the attached document. I haven't read the attached document yet, but I've witnessed why the City of Worcester might not give too many why
Oh,
the
yeah,
City of
Rick's
Worcester might
opposing
not, the City of Worcester administration might not
Oh,
care
yeah. I was,
about
I was
the fact
looking
that
at the other two
the
guys.
landlords are not using
Being like, who are these
The
cops?
city
And I didn't
itself
even
doesn't
clock
bother to use
Rick.
constables. The city itself doesn't bother to use the correct
That's the
address
number
when
one
sending
cop.
things. And the city doesn't really care about people who can't afford to pay their rent or their mortgage. The city cares about taxpayers. And so mostly I want to draw attention to Councilor Toomey's request to the city of Worcester does hereby call upon the state legislature to fully enforce and enact any additional required legislation to ensure full sentencing be mandatory for the legal possession of firearms. Any counselor who votes to support that, but not to hold the police accountable, is a scumbag, with all due respect. And then separately, 839 A, B, and C. As the first page of your report states, the needs improvement. The standards that they have set are not being met, and the standards they have set are too low. it is also really difficult to
What's he doing with
actually
his
get
tongue?
accurate assessments based on the limited information they are
Eyes on
actually
Rick Cipro.
providing.
He's making weird
And,
tongue things.
As someone who has spent way too much time going back and forth with the Public Records Office, they are not forthcoming with the little bit of data they actually do retain and write down. Police reports are written to support their narrative, and that's the end of that. You have to recognize that it is in their best interest to fight every single thing that actually fights towards accountability, because it gets in the way of them doing their job. Lastly, specifically on C,
Yeah, the little
authorization
giggles
to
from
file a
Cipro are
petition
like,
with the
yeah,
general court,
and?
which would exempt the positions of
What are you
chief
gonna
of
fucking
police
do
and
about it?
deputy chief of police in the city.
That's why he
Worcester
became a
from civil
cop, so he could
service
do
law.
things like this, right?
As much as I love to complain
Smirk
about the
in the
current
back of a
chief, I
room.
think most of the problems are from the one before them. Where I'm really going with this is, I think opening it up to people outside of people who only, let's get out, expanding the search to past people who have done civil
Can you
service
wrap up
law
your
exam.
comments?
Yeah, sure. Let's have someone in charge who's been to a therapist.
Seems very fast trigger.
Okay.
I think it'd be fun to
Good
just
evening,
clock
Mr. Chairman. My
clock
name is
everybody.
Greg Degamizian. I'm a citizen.
and then come up
Brown
and have your
resident
public comment be
here
just
in the
everyone's
city,
times.
Formerly of Oberlin Street. And I'm here to speak on 8.13 and just commend the excellent written narrative and statistics regarding the crime statistics. Want to take a very high-level view of actually the three sentences and last paragraph that are under the section of technology. It's very meaningful because it captures everything which a mid-sized city should be doing in modern-day policing when it speaks to intelligence-led policing, a business model which is almost like a private sector enterprise model that encompasses and brings in analytical
slip of the tongue there,
capabilities
calling
and
it a
crime
business
analysis and integrating it with operations. Along with that, the conversations which go on between the command staff and along with the superior officers to provide
Good
directed
question.
patrols to
I've got
the
a 20 on
patrol
Marco
officers.
yet.
As a citizen who is very much interested in public safety, this is the exact type of policing which is should be going on. And the real challenge too is the fact that this is a policing agency which is trying to do it on a mid-size level budget with seriously understaffed for a
that's the
variety of
problem.
reasons, no fault of the police department. So, Mr. Chairman, over the next few years, I look forward
No
to
fault.
the
They
continued
removed all the
development
Jenga
of this
games
model
from all the
and the funding of that
from-
model. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
all the
that was
police
like that
parties.
was the
I
party,
expect
you know?
expect to hold on to cops and you can't have a Jenga party.
You expect
Evan
to do?
Corrigan
You expect these
with
cops to play Jenga
Massachusetts.
not on blow?
So I'm
Jeez.
speaking on 7H through 7J. And regarding 7J, this is actually the first issue that had my name on a City of Worcester agenda back from October
fascinating.
20th, 2015. I was much younger and perhaps a little bit lighter as well. And this is something that I got involved in for the 2016 specifically. It was the 168 had the cake. The city came down, Congressman McGovern came down, Telegram and Spectrum News was there. And so this was something that was that's always been near and dear to me. But the idea that I have is make February 29th a perpetual municipal holiday. I mean, it's a low commitment. It happens it's one day every 4 years. And obviously the long-term goal in my mind is to have it be coinciding with a large celebration.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. February
look at,
29th.
for
Every
example,
February
Holden,
29th.
they do
there's
Holden
a
days
civic
throughout every single
citywide
year.
celebration.
I'm only asking for something once
And
every
there's
4
no
years.
laws that
But the prerequisite step for that is
Right.
is
seeing
not
Any
that
crime
this becomes a municipal holiday.
Forgive it.
Yeah.
7H is also something that I have a long history with.
Wanna
It's
kill?
a matter that
You wanna rob?
I would say is a simple one. It's just installing
Do
a
whatever
welcome
you
Worcester
want.
sign
Leap
on the
day.
border of Holden and Worcester, right at Doyle Road and West Mountain Street. I tried first back in 2019,
That's
and
fun.
then it went into the abyss, and then 2021 it ended up getting filed
So,
after subcommittee.
I'm not trying
So
to
hoping that
dox
this
you, Noah,
time
but
we could
have
end
to
up
work at
having
either
a
the
sign
Boynton or at
the Worcester
Joey's.
Holden border maybe 2 years
If Joe
from now.
Petty and cops were there.
And lastly, this is 7I. I have been very fortunate in my life to have had time studying abroad in Europe twice, and both
Of
I've
course,
gone to
we know
Worcester,
that because
England,
everyone
2
that does
times,
that talks
which
about
is
it all the time.
something that not many people are fortunate enough to do. So I acknowledge that from my end. But what I had done is I had met with the Twinning Association there. I met with the mayor there. I even saw within their own mayoral chambers the gifts that the city of Worcester gave. I saw the document signed from Bill Clinton acknowledging the
Take a look
twinning
at that
agreement,
shot
and the
clock.
one from Mayor Raymond Mariano.
Yeah, see
in the
how
90s. But
how
the consistent
long
story
this
that
has
I
gone.
got
Nothing
from when I went
against
in
you, Evan.
2017
But
and last year from
You
the
get to
Twinning
go on a long
Association is
time
that
if it's
when it comes to communicating with our
not
city,
related to any
we don't really do a very good job at
thing.
responding to them or getting any sort of real relationship there. I mean, it is our namesake. The city was named after it. And what I'm asking for is to establish a
What
board
was
or
the city named after?
commission
The sauce?
to maintain the city's sister
We
city
should change the name
relationships
of
and perhaps
Worcester.
even expand it
To
for
Worcestershire.
the future.
Yeah,
Thank you, Evan.
no, the
Good
sauce.
luck on your studies. You're leaving shortly, and we'll see you back after May.
Oh, see, that's
I might
because
have
his
one more week after this.
best fucking friend. That's why. That's why Joe Petty let
Okay.
him talk for 60
Anybody
minutes.
else? Nobody else? Wait, one more person.
My name is Silas, and speaking in regards to 7J, I think it was 7K, and this is regarding, I'm a resident of Auburn, but I see a lot of individuals who are homeowners in Worcester.
Silas, I said
council
it.
needs
Say what I
to,
said last week.
Ensure that the protection
Love ya,
of Worcester residents, though.
Go fuck
I've
off
been
back to
repeatedly
Auburn.
told and heard people.
And that's just what I would
to be
say to
told
anyone
about
that's from
something
Auburn.
facing Physical eviction. By someone
Auburn
who's
could be
endangering
deleted
their
from the
Please.
record.
safety,
From the
Silas.
geography.
not registered.
Come live in Worcester.
Not registered.
We'd love to have you.
Not licensed to go to housing court. Now,
But we're
I've
going
checked
to
almost
launch another rocket
360
in celebration of
communities,
Robert Goddard.
and I see no evidence
We're
that
gonna blow up Auburn.
Mr. Nuntz, Wilson Nuntz, is actually registered or in.
I'm
anything
volunteering
that
Auburn to be the
indicates his
next
certification.
site for nuclear
And I
testing.
ask this body to please.
I think
They're so proud. They're so proud of that rocket test, and they just don't understand that it's because Robert Goddard was
Thank you.
comfortable blowing up anything in Auburn if he had
you.
to. He
Right.
couldn't risk doing it in
Okay, we
Worcester.
have some people online.
It was like a remote island in the Pacific or a patch of uninhabited desert.
Joseph Rodwell, I'm trying to get the resident now.
It going wrong was inconsequential.
Right.
Joseph, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can. Please state your name, city of residence, and the item you're calling on.
Joseph Rodwell, Worcester, Mass.
That's
Speaking on
definitely
behalf
Worcester,
of
Mass.
7K as well. The constables that are not licensed and will not show their licenses or certifications that they have been licensed, and also carrying weapons and making it known that they're carrying weapons and using that motion as a threatening manner towards other people. And they should be held under the same laws as every other citizen in the state, never mind just the city. And I'm referring on William Nunez and what was her name? Ms. LaCar. I've tried to serve Ms. LaCar some papers at her
Creepers, creepers,
residence,
torches, and pitchforks.
and she was in the background saying, "Tell them I'm not here," and refused to let them leave.
They
the
Well, it sounds like somebody was mad at
property.
you.
I believe that's about all I got.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the next speaker is Bill Gardner. I'm trying to mute the resident now.
This guy's a former cop.
There he goes. What's your name and city of residence and item number?
Good evening. My name is William Gardner, and I live at 69 Zenith Drive in Worcester. My home has been foreclosed on twice, once in 2010 and again in 2018, albeit illegally, and I've been involved in a fight that I am still in and out of court over for the last 14 years. I have been involved with the same mutual aid network since 2010, being involved in peaceful protests regarding Worcester residents being evicted from their homes before all of their remedies in court have been exhausted. As a result, I've had my fair share of interactions with constables, licensed or otherwise. In most cases, the constable will delay execution if they know there is an appeal or some type of stay being actively sought through the courts. But all too often, we are faced with a person who represents themselves as a constable, but does not appear to be licensed anywhere in the state and certainly is not licensed in the city of Worcester and should not be allowed to serve a physical eviction. I have been assaulted or threatened by a couple of these alleged constables in just the last year and have heard multiple accounts about how this has happened to many others in our group. When
Oh,
those
that's
types
me,
of
the washing machine sound. Yeah.
Worcester Police Department usually ends up responding, but they are either not educated as to the
Everybody
requirements
get
of
ready. When we hear
constables,
the LG
remedies
dance
that the courts allow
song, we
for,
all must dance.
or will affect constructive entry into residents' homes when, as far as I know, they have no authority to do so under the circumstances. Police officers are literally not allowed to facilitate civil process, and I know this from my own training as a former Worcester police officer. All we are asking for is that more stringent policies regarding the licensure of constables be enacted, and that there was much more education and cooperation with the WPD when they respond to these types of calls. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the end of the public. Okay. The petition 7A to 7B, we're going to refer to the Public Works Committee. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. 7C to 7G, refer to Traffic and Parking. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. 7H, Evan Corrigan requests installation of Welcome to Worcester sign at the Worcester Holding Board at Westmoreland Street and Doyle Street. We send that to the manager. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Evan Corrigan requests City Council, requests City Manager to consider establishing a board.
If it's at the Holden border, it should say danger entering
Worcester.
Worcester.
To the manager. Opposed, so ordered. Evan Corrigan requests February 29th be designated as a municipal holiday to celebrate Worcester's incorporation as the city of Tuesday, February 29th, 1848. We'll send that to the manager, and all those in favor, opposed, so ordered. 7K, Gary Ross requests City Council hold notification of the Worcester Police will enforce the law, both criminal statute and obligations on the Police Reform Act, as the evictions as described in the attached document. Although I agree with the premise of this, I just like to get a detailed report, like whether the rights, like what does the police do? Because I know the chief gets a lot of calls the last minute, so we can understand this. Like, where's the disconnect? I want to at least get a detailed report. Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a quick question on this because repeatedly comes before us, and I appreciate your motion. And I'm sure most of these things will be addressed when that motion is honored. Through the chair to the administration, if just for clarification, my understanding that part of this is about the police witnessing or observing a constable who's using police powers or some level of force. Through the chair to the administration, I just want a question as to, do we track, number one, are the constables that work for the city or we approve, can you explain that process very briefly and what oversight, if any, the city has of those individuals through the chair?
Mr. Manager.
Through the chair to the council, the constables that apply to the city, they go through the police department. An application that starts in the police department. They have to submit a number of references as part of that application. They have to also make sure that there's a bond associated with that application. It goes through a review to the law department, my office, and eventually then I sign off and present it to the council. And so that typically is kind of the process for the constable's application process.
And through the chair to the administration, it's repeatedly come before us that these what been, I'll use the words used here, they've been referenced as police powers being used. Have we had any reports from the Worcester Police Department regarding concerns? Do we know whether or not those folks or those constables are approved to actually act?
Why would they be
think
considered?
that-
That's just like shit they don't want to do.
Right.
Someone's doing it.
Through the chair to the council, the constables that we appoint here in
With
the
these
city,
comments,
some
I
of them
think
are
that a
city
lot of the
employees
more
through the,
powerful
Professional Services Department.
higher
Others
ups
are
in the
general public.
WPD probably
To my
like
knowledge,
petty.
right now, none of them
Um,
have gone through the police academy in terms of the city
but a
constables.
lot of rank and file probably
If
don't
they
like
are
him because they
constables
are
from
from
outside the
Holden.
community that the court is
Wink.
appointing to
If you know what I
serve,
mean.
that's something that we would have an understanding or background to know.
He's a demon rat.
Do have the arrest powers, or they don't have the arrest powers. That's something that will lie within that community.
Thank you very much for the delineation. Just as it relates to the concerns that repeatedly are coming before us in this body, you indicated that the constables appointed or approved or whatever the terminology is by the city, that they do not have the ability, they have not been through the training through the police academy. Is that accurate? I just want to confirm and verify what that statement is so that folks can have an understanding and we can as well.
Yeah, I can have the chief respond to that to be more clear and confirm. But my understanding, we currently have about, I believe, 24 constables in the city that are city Worcester appointed. But I'll let the chief answer or give him more information.
Through the chair of the council, that's correct. They are not certified. And this came about due to the 2020 Act, where you have to get post-certified through the state. Constables had a right of arrest prior to that. Now they must go through a police academy to actually have that right of arrest again. So they do not. But as far as a constable coming from outside the city, they go to housing court. The judge stipulates that they're going to be a special process server, and then they can execute civil process in the city once that comes through. So what our job is, we'll get a call from Grace saying there's an execution going down. We respond to the scene and we preserve the peace. If a crime takes place, then we would take the responsibility of making an arrest if it's an arrestable offense. Besides that, Worcester Police have no authority to execute civil process, just as Bill Gardner said on the screen. We cannot do civil stuff. That's for constables or for sheriff's deputies who are certified and can make arrests.
Thank you. And again, from my understanding, so if you could.
Just one more thing. How is the war against the Na'vi going?
By the courts. Are they or are they not allowed?
Have they been obstructing our unobtainium mining operations as much lately?
How did you get rid of the three big scars on your face?
Thank you. And through the chair to the administration, in terms of the interests of our law enforcement here in the city, what protections do we have for them if in fact there's a use of force? And we indicated that some of those folks from the courts may or may not be able to exact that force. How do the officers on the scene know whether or not that person from the court is verified and certified to use force? Is there some type of paper trail? Is there some sort of notification? Just in order to ensure that there's no liability for law enforcement or for the city. To the chair.
Chief.
Through the chair to the council. What we do now is we meet ahead of time. Grace Ross is usually in the lobby. We speak with her. Our instructions, we actually went to housing court, sat down with the magistrates to make sure we had the correct game plan going forward so that the police were doing the correct thing. We sat down with them. They gave us our guidelines. Those guidelines were any problems that they have with any proceeding coming up, they were to go to the housing court and get the authority from them, whether or not it'll be a bankruptcy, whatever type of stay on the order. We do not know going in if you graduated from the police academy. We try to communicate with everyone prior to getting there, including the constables. We do not want to arrest anybody at these things. Sometimes our hands are tied. There will be people, protesters at the location, making a human chain, blocking the doors, and there are authority with a form from the court saying that this execution is to go through. So the police are put in a very difficult position.
Thank you. I certainly recognize that position that they're being placed in, particularly without knowing. Those guidelines that are referenced, have those been rendered to policy and engaged in any sort of negotiation with the union? Or is that simply some level of guidelines that's being provided to the officers? Through the chair.
After we went through our court proceedings, we met with the city law department.
It's a good question, actually. Is that like a contract job for the housing court? Or is that part of their normal duties?
How they were to enforce this. We try to use the same lieutenant or official every time so that they have the most experience with it, because you really need to be an attorney.
Right. I mean, this is the
you have people handing
most ridiculous part of the whole thing. It's like
caches of documents.
Oh no, those people can beat me up,
but
not this one.
It's not good.
Okay. Thank you.
No, when you let that particular person beat me up, it's over the line.
That an order, a motion that the manager take a look into.
Couldn't this officer with a badge number beat me up instead?
This process. We don't want our law enforcement in litigation. We don't want the city in litigation if there's an issue, that goes down and that person is actually not certified or unbeknownst to folks that are there. And I think for the homeowners, they should also know what they're stepping into. And I don't know if there's exactly an answer, but certainly I think the question should be posed if there's another way to do this. It repeatedly comes before us, and we want to protect our residents and we want to protect our employees as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No, I agree that we should protect our residents, so we'll send that to the manager along with Council King's motion. Those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
That's great, Joe. I'm glad you agree with that.
Going to days, request City Council, request City Manager include the cost analysis of the Worcester PD drone force for the following information: cost of drones, associated equipment, itemized list of associated equipment, number of personnel assigned to the drone and their salaries, the number of sorties flown from the beginning of the drone force and the respective mission, the success and failure of each mission, and whether the mission was accomplished by other means such as foot patrol, vehicle patrol, fire departments. We got all this information in the past. Does anybody want it again or follow it?
I think an update works, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, you think they just stopped using the drone?
Manager. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
We got all this information about what they were thinking about right when they first got it. And after we gave it to them, we just sort of stopped paying attention.
Appointment of Stephanie Silva to the Advisory Committee, the status of women. And we also have recommending appointments of Meg Mulhern and John Harry to the Worcester Ballpark Commission.
Oh, interesting. Meg Mulhern got on the Ballpark Commission?
Service.
That's wild.
Council King.
My favorite entity, the Worcester Ballpark Commission, Mr. Chairman. We're looking at additional
profile and courage.
Just for clarification, how many additional years are we talking about? Is it 5? Is it? I know different people came in at different times. I didn't get a chance to close look at this, but what is the increase here in terms of service for Meg Mulhern and John?
The Ballpark Commission is so funny. It's the most useless government body that exists.
It's just like getting free tickets, essentially, is what the only reason.
Yeah. And like the only way to get on there is to just be like a campaign donor or organizer for Joe Petty or
Through the chair to the council, I think it's 3 years. The 5 years is the initial 5, but I can definitely confirm.
I honestly,
they had a fight about it, but they didn't. I thought they didn't end up.
So it says
no, it was on the table for them to do that, and they voted not to. I believe
from the initial.
Correct.
But I remember being very stupid.
Okay.
And hard to figure out.
This isn't quite accurate, Mr. Chairman.
So, through the chair to the council, yeah, so I guess my correction here, so if it is 5 years, then they are reappointed for another 5 years.
For another 5 years?
Correct.
And we're in year what now, through the chair? Since it started?
4.
This is, the ballpark commission started 4 years ago? 5? About to be the 5th year, yeah.
The 5th year.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I certainly have stood asking to honor the city manager's request previously that we have an interdepartmental approach,
go.
including law enforcement, including parks, including facilities, and more as relates to the ballpark. It indicates here the ballpark is responsible for general superintendents over the operation and maintenance of the ballpark facilities. Mr. Chairman, I certainly would like a motion that we get an update on their meetings. I've asked for minutes. I don't think I've seen them.
I'm gonna take a look at that real quick.
It's available. Have provided those? I can't recall. I apologize if you have, but I'm just wondering, what we're looking at, and also in addition to that question, how frequently are they currently meeting? Are they on schedule? What's the update on the ballpark commissions?
Wow, they've had 3 meetings this year, actually.
To the chair to the council, they are meeting. The minutes and agendas are usually posted on the website. I have not personally brought them forward to the council floor, but they are available to the public. All boards and commission minutes and minutes and agendas on the website. But they are meeting and they're discussing kind of their role and some of the areas that they want to continue.
Surprise,
to focus
surprise,
on,
they are meeting.
as a ballpark commission.
Through the chair to the administration, one of the things we had talked about was the number of community events.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Occurred.
That was Marco, right? That tried to go and couldn't get in.
I know that in the secondary representations from the city, they included some of the graduations that occurred during COVID and what have you. I believe that opening day is right around the corner. Through the chair to the administration, have the ballpark commission provided to you a schedule of community events?
She had a medical procedure
for this
give her measles.
baseball season. Through the chair.
Mr. Manager.
Through the chair to the council, they work with.
She just wanted to feel more Irish.
The chief of public facilities, but that's something I could definitely get and bring back to the council.
Has that come before you through the chair to the administration, a schedule?
Through the chair to the council, no, that has not come.
The ballpark commission met a whopping 4 times.
Discussions
in
about this
2023. Which is
we've had a recommendation from the administration after a lengthy process. This body.
Not to go back to Kate Toomey's DM conversation with me, but I love being called a bad Irishman by somebody who absolutely would have sided with the British.
Yeah, like no question.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
Called a bad Irishman by somebody who calls it Londonderry.
Reappointment, does it require a vote of the council, or is this already a done deal?
Mr. Manager, it's a vote of the council. It's a vote of the council. No.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I think I'd like to hold this. I'd like some answers by next week, if possible. We can vote this. I'd like to know exactly what they're doing. Again, the city manager had a comprehensive plan. We went ahead and we moved.
Christian's 2 hottest takes are that he hates the ballpark commission and Mill Street with a passion.
And
I was mistaken.
Well, we don't need it.
No.
Okay, good.
I mean,
right. I'll stand this on the record. We need
Mill Street was crazy. I mean, the ballpark commission he's right about, but
he
he's
is
also
right.
he's just going after one of Petty's campaign people.
There's no evidence of that to this point,
which is fine.
Certainly,
that's the sort of petty behavior we expect of a city councilor.
In meeting, I'd like to also report back.
But Mill Street's crazy. I mean, come on.
Exactly how many meetings they've had since the last time.
Pretty wild. I don't get it.
On this particular commission, we're talking about reappointing folks. I'm assuming so this goes back to 2015. We have expiration dates here of January of 2029, January of 2029. So you're talking, if this was in effect since 2015, 9 years, 5 years, we're a whole host of seasons in, and we've had no production from that commission, Mr. Chairman, and would like to get that as soon as possible. Thank you.
So, Councilor Russell?
Oh, boy. We're going around the horn on this,
Chairman,
folks.
maybe my memory's off, but I don't remember this as being a vote of the council. I remember this just being a communication from the administration.
I just said that.
Okay, so this is on the agenda incorrectly. So it does not require a vote then. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So it's just an informational thing.
Pleasure to join us, George.
Number one. Number two, Mr. Chairman, on the city website, there's a video of the last meeting of the ballpark commission on March 13th. So they are meeting, and I'm haven't watched their videos any more than I watch any of the volunteer boards and commissions, unless there's something controversial, I end up turning it on. But there's right here, there's a video of it. Mr.
Oh man, if he held his phone back to if he held his phone up to the camera, that was a real perception
I
moment
believe,
there.
if my memory serves me correctly.
Let's go in infinity in the other direction.
These were appointments that were not full terms because they were staggered. So
Molly,
they're
do you think
probably not a full?
I want
it's
to
not
do
like
this?
they're
Is such a good
sending them
idea.
back for some long.
And then when
period of
people
time,
have a problem with
original
it,
appointments were
just be like,
started
it's
in a
just
full
another
term.
stinking Italian.
And there were not
St.
two
Patrick.
better meetings, than these two folks.
And
two
the people,
that
and
work
then we can
harder,
implode a lot of
than any
brains.
volunteer position in the city than these folks. John Harrity and Meg Mulher, they both, I think, do an excellent job. But I will agree that maybe we should bring this. I think we still have a pending item.
Just sneak
on the
in,
Public
sneak
Works
one in
agenda, or maybe
by
an
nominating Eamon
upcoming
de
meeting.
Valera to be
We
the
can
new
ask them
statue.
to come back in with the administration staff to give us an update on some of the.
Who's
direction
that?
The Public Works Committee and
The
the council
Irish
gave them,
Revolutionary
a few months ago, and maybe
from
that's the way
1916.
to work this, to ask them to come back in and ask the administration.
Yeah, hell yeah.
To have their staff come in with these folks. But
Okay.
but that's it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you. Councilor King for second time.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, my recollection was that prior to this, when this came before us, we were looking at a reorganization that required our approval previously. Is that right, through the chair?
Mr. Manager, I don't remember.
When we were looking to
come on.
remove.
Yeah, there was a recommendation from the administration to remove the ballpark commission.
Thank you. Again,
Said the administration sheepishly.
I recall, I think that
like,
this required a special meeting. Is that
I,
right?
I honestly, they should keep the ballpark commission. They should just radically change what it does. We talked about this one day.
Through the chair to the council, I believe so, but I think as the manager stated, that was to remove.
Like keep the ballpark commission, but like reassign
reason I
the
bring that up,
majority of
Mr.
its
Chairman,
responsibilities
is
to the
that this is a
administration.
matter. I've been on this council for quite some time.
Shorten the
And
appointments.
I can't
Make them have some
recall,
oversight over the
those sorts of
operate, like
emergencies
who
and
operates
we
the
had
like more
attempt for
oversight.
that some years ago,
And then
related to the budget.
yeah, it
And
was.
we weren't able to get a special meeting, and I believe this meeting,
And
I believe, was brought forward by the mayor.
I think
could
I think that during the last fight,
Nonetheless,
Christian
it was a
was
special
making the
meeting,
same
which
point,
means this is an
largely, if I
important
remember correctly. That
situation. This is an
this
important
form of it is
matter
bad, but
that we
we
took up.
shouldn't just
And as
get
I
rid of
stated
it. We
previously,
should have an effective form of
oversight
of
is
it.
necessary. We've invested a
saying
whole
right now.
lot of funds
Right.
in that ballpark.
Make
and
the
we have
campaign
a
apparatus
commission
feel
there
important
that needs
with
to produce. You have a community
largely
that
powerless
that.
advisory
We have a
role
facility that
and
requires
reassign the majority of the
oversight.
duties to the inner
and
workings of the city bureaucracy.
On top of this, I know that.
So that shit actually gets done.
I think it's
That's what planning is all about,
Councilor
baby.
Russell's committee has had some hearings regarding this. I attended some of those.
Who's breathing in
last,
the mic?
last
Is that
term?
Joe?
But we
usually
really
is.
need a proper accounting because, quite frankly, it's clear to me that this doesn't work. I appreciate that there's stuff up on the website, but this council should have the reports that were requested, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So, Council Merrill Carlson, followed by Council Bergman.
Mr. Chairman, I
Jesus.
just want to rise to speak really on behalf of these two individuals who we're looking at reappointing them tonight. Again, this item went into Council Russell's committee, which I serve on. This council also took a vote not to remove this commission. Again, I'll repeat, we made a decision not to remove this commission. I think it's really short-sighted at this point to say that these folks are not producing. Back when we took this vote to keep this ballpark commission, this really fell on when they took this commission and gave it to Julie. At the end of the day, that falls on us as a city. It didn't fall on the commission. It fell on us because we made a decision that she was the individual who was going to be in charge. Since we've taken that vote.
Wow, Candy is throwing this Julie girl all the way under the bus.
Go on the website and see that they
Who was
have
it? Julie who?
met. And I think
She
if
just
you
said
talk
Julie.
to any one of these commissioners, or quite frankly, talk to the folks.
She
at
just
the Woostok, they
flagrantly
certainly can give
blamed
us
all of it on
what has been
Julie.
happening. But
on this
folks who
shadowy
are
Julie
being
figure.
appointed, and yes, these positions were staggered. So
Let's
these
see.
positions were not.
That's such a Trumpian thing to do. Frankly, I think we all know what the problem was here. The problem is Julie. Julie was a bad person to be doing that job. That's why we sent her packing, folks. That's why she got fired.
Because one of the members
There's no
passed
Julie
away
on the ballpark
unexpectedly,
commission.
which was
It's seeming to
one
me
of
like
my
Julie
good
might have
friends,
been their point of
Tommy Malone,
contact within the city
who
hall.
again tragically
Their
died in
liaison.
sleep. So their last meeting,
Julie's
again,
a nasty woman. She's a nasty girl.
was certainly a snafu.
And I think,
because
quite
of
frankly, we all know
unforeseen,
who's to blame.
Things that took place
Julie.
that day. But this commission and the people who
Sleepy
are
Joe.
brought
Sleepy
before
Joe
us
Petty.
are individuals
Messy,
who are
messy
tasked
Julie.
with following what we've asked them to do. And I
Very
believe at this
unorganized.
point that they are doing that. And like I said, all
I was
you
just
need to
throwing
do
that
is
shit
go on
about
the
Julie out
website
there,
and you
introduce
can
the
see
public,
because their
the
meetings
public
now
discourse.
are
Like, just
publicly on that website.
don't even
But
care if people
I just
understand what I
wanted
mean.
to stand up
The
for
Woosoks,
these
they came to me and they
people
said,
who we're talking
please,
about
Candy,
tonight,
with tears in their eyes, they came to me
reappointing them. These
and
are
they said, please
two
get rid of Julie.
really great individuals in our community who have
bad.
served our community in so
This
many
Julie,
ways.
she's
So,
not all there. She's not all there in the head.
Again,
She's
Mr.
very
Chairman,
low
as you
energy.
well know, that this is a vote that this council took to reaffirm
God,
that
this
that
is-
ballpark
this is
commission
fucking
would
a
stay
farcical conversation that's happening right
in
now.
place. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Bergman.
Ah, fuck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Council Merrill Carlson.
This is such a-
I was part of this committee, person Russell, and we did have extensive
What's happening?
hearings on this. And yes, there were some recommendations we made to do better, and it sounds like they are. At least it sounds like the meeting online is proof of
Captions
that.
quit.
So I'm
I think Facebook is quitting on it.
In a mindset when it's passed, but the 6 existing members, individuals' names just happen to appear today because of the staggered terms, and conversation seems to be more about them unintendedly.
Yeah. Is that me or is that the?
No, I think it's on mine. You might want to bring up the stream, the Facebook stream as a
I'm gonna
backup.
try to host it.
an opportunity to prove that they.
Julie's gotten into the broadcast.
Last term, and I would just repeat what Councilman Kelsey said. Yes, there was a special meeting. Yes, we did take a vote, and the vote was to keep the commission. Lastly, let me just add with the ballpark having recently been so like.
All right, I got the feed. Pull it up if you want to switch off or whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can share it now. I'll
okay.
Pull mine down when yours comes up.
Mr. Mayor.
I'll reiterate, these people are good people, do a good job in the commission. The commission's doing their job now. Open floor that you're going to let this council vote on this the last time, and you held it so the council couldn't vote on it. And that's why that special meeting was called. Several councils called me and said, we want to vote on this.
No
and that's why I
captions.
put this forth. And
yeah, the
I just wanna
captions.
set
I don't
that
think the
straight for
captions are
record.
working.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, he's referencing the reorg, not the matter before us.
I don't know how to make it bigger.
That's regarding the reorganization.
Click those two arrows. Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna snow tomorrow or not tomorrow. I thought Thursday and Friday.
Is the motion to file, Mr. Chairman?
So we're going to take a roll call on 8A and 8B. We're going to file collectively. Roll call.
Mr.
Yeah.
Point of clarification procedurally, wasn't there a motion to hold this a few moments ago?
I think you recanted that by.
Yeah, that's withdrawn.
Because I think we thought it was a vote before. It's not a vote.
God, I got to be honest. Either way,
So
I
we can
really
take them
just
collectively.
do not care
Mr.
about
Chairman,
this.
I'll
ballpark
take A on the
commission
roll
thing.
call.
I do
Is this
not
to
see how
appoint or
this
to file?
impacts me
So on
one way or the
2A,
other.
8.2A, recommending a reappointment of Stephanie Silva to the advisory committee of the status of women. That's what we're going to vote on. Do them separately.
So just for clarification, I don't want myself or anyone else to mess this up. I thought that the clerk's position was we don't have to vote on these appointments.
We on A, we do.
So,
Oh, this is wrong
To
then?
the chair, to the council. So basically, the manager has the authority to appoint. He brings these.
So basically, I just
informational
pretend
communications
to make you guys
to the
feel like
city
you're
council.
involved with the voting
So all
every
you do
week. and-
procedure is just file them during the meetings.
On both of them?
On both.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. File, roll call. No, roll call. Elders
Mr.
and-
Chairman.
Okay. I'm going back to my original point. 8A is correct. We're going to do a roll call on 8A because that's what's supposed to be done.
You don't need to
8B,
do a
the
roll
motion to
call.
file. We're going to take them separately. 8A, roll call.
Councilor Bergen.
Yes.
Councilor Calori.
Yes.
Councilor Hajie.
Yes.
Councilor King.
Yes.
Councilor Carlson.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Ojeda.
Yes.
Councilor Basillo.
Yes.
Councilor Russell.
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Yes. B, motion to file. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. We are on 8.9A, transmitting information communication about the 2024 Spring Sweeping Program.
Wow, Joe's
Almost
fired
almost.
up. Joe's
Thank-
testy right
Commissioner.
now.
So- Okay. You want a committee or? Councilor Russell?
Mr. Chairman, you said it. You said it. You said no more snow. So I'm going to throw out the suggestion that we talked about at the Public Works Committee meeting. We talked about because there is no, we're hoping.
Oh, we got
no
Jen,
more
Jenny's
snow,
Ception
there
for a
will be,
second.
An abundance of
full George Ception.
hopefully free cash.
Almost
That
full.
was put aside for snow. The committee made the recommendation. I just want to bring that to your attention, that the manager consider using as much of that as possible to try and work on the potholes of this city.
Okay, that's going to
Amen.
come through the next agenda.
Oh,
then?
we want a
Make that-
Sonic so
That'll be
bad.
on
I
next
don't
week's
remember if
meeting.
it's in here.
No, it'll
but-
be next week's meeting.
Right.
Come on.
But this item you can send to committee.
We want a Sonic. We want a second
send it to committee?
Popeyes.
Okay, all those in favor, opposed, so.
You give me an
ordered.
Alamo Draft House, I'll delete my newsletter.
Dude,
We are on
So I'll quit my
the
job.
recommended adoption of the lease
I'll just,
agreement.
I'll
for
go,
parking at the major
fuck
Taylor
off forever.
Garage
You
at the
provide
US
an
Postal
Alamo
Service.
Draft House. I'll never comment on anything the
Roll
city
call.
does again.
Councilor Bergman.
Yes.
Councilor Calorio.
I'll vote for Joe
Councilor
Petty
Hajie.
for the rest of his
Councilor
fucking
King.
life.
Yes.
Councilor Carlson.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Ojeda.
Yes.
Hi, Spiny.
Basillo.
We're
Councilor Russell.
we're watching
Mayor
the
Petty.
city council meeting
Yes.
in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Transmitting information communication of the city of Worcester's traffic signal
A
system.
stupid city.
Finally.
but
nice report.
we're into it.
Thank you, and I look forward to upgrading the other the other 80 or something that were short, and I think you have a 5-year plan, so much appreciated. You can signalize those, and I was so surprised we have
Listen, it's
only
a moot
27
it's a
that
moot point
were
because the city's never going to get
signalized,
an
so.
Alamo Draft House.
We're not
Thank
even
you.
gonna get a movie
Mr.
theater.
Mayor?
We can't even
Forget-
sustain a
Send
regular
this to
movie
my
theater,
committee.
let
Yep, just on
alone
the
Find a
traffic.
cool one.
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Treasury Information Communication of the 2023
I
crime
love
statistics for the city of
Draft House.
Worcester.
Oh boy, here we
And
go.
send that to public safety. I just have a few comments.
Fuck, Joe, you could have just sent it off. Oh fuck, dude. I got so fucking excited that was just gonna go by without anyone talking about it.
Chief,
Mayor Petty.
through the chair, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an excellent report. I appreciate the report, Mr. Manager, and the crime statistics. It seems that we trend that way every year. And what concerns me is the guns. I know you're going to do a special task force. I don't know if you can comment on that, Chief, and regarding the guns, especially in the, it shows in this report, and even in the audit, I know it's held, it shows how the police department is doing a good job here in the city of Worcester when it comes to these items. And the safety.
We're doing a great job arresting black teenagers.
In the city of Worcester. I know I asked for a report several months ago.
We go above and beyond in that regard.
And what's your? I know you're going to develop a task force.
Really punching above our weight class in that category.
When it comes to arresting black and Hispanic teenagers, we are cut above the rest. We do such a good job at that.
To the chair, yes, we've collaborated with the ATF. We're trying to create a gun crime center where all the ammunition we get, all the shell casings we get, all the firearms we get, we can actually analyze and then link between them. For instance, in this report, there were
what the fuck is
128 recovered shell casings that actually linked to another shooting. So when you can combine all those together, and then you take that information, working with federal authorities, you're able to enhance penalties.
That is the interim chief, acting chief.
I read this today from Syracuse University, and this is exactly the problem. A disproportionate amount of violent crime.
Freshly returned from Pandora.
A very small number of identifiable
And he's
persons.
back from his private sector
And I've been
work.
saying that as we've been going on. It's a small amount that's committing all the violence in the city. Those are people that need to be targeted and put in prison, and then this will stop. Because everybody out there is not shooting guns, right? So if you're able to identify them.
Just us and a couple
working
other
with the
people.
courts, Joe Early's a great partner of ours. I'm working hard with him, but I can just give you a quick example. 226 through 3/1, 32 offenders that week were brought before the courts. Of those 32 offenders, 17 were released on some type of program. These are all gun offenders, GPS, what have you. So if we arrest 32 people, some of them go through a program where they'll keep you for 120 days. Others don't. Some get out on personal recognizance.
I knew this was going to be the line of attack because this is exactly what Kate has been saying on Twitter and in that DM conversation. So clearly this has been like, hey, everyone talk about this. Uh-oh, I think we lost Bill. Let me bring the stream back up on my end. What we're finding out is that Travis is the only one with good internet in this family. And that's a shame. You know what probably happened is Bill's dryer went off and it uses the internet because it's an LG. And it probably just took up all his bandwidth. Back on.
how it's been selected? What's the membership look like? Is there any former
I can't wait to
retired
get rid of
police
Spectrum.
officers that are perhaps
Man,
being
I hope
asked
that
to
happens.
participate? I don't know what they call them here in the state. They call them 128s, but is there any additional supports that you're looking to access, for the task force through the chair?
Through the chair to the council. Right now, it's made up of a Worcester.
I would love it if that
that
PS2
is,
theft happened recently.
Signed through the ATF in our office. There's also a state trooper on that. And I met with Terrence Reedy, the Secretary of Public Safety.
Sorry, I just unplugged my computer with my foot.
We are going to go speak with the governor.
I guess my crock was directly on top of the power cable, and I was nervously jiggling my foot, and I unplugged my computer with it.
Incredible. That's good work.
Resources down here.
I thought I froze because everything else froze at once, and then it turns out that was the only thing not frozen.
Currently, what's the barrier?
I was like, "What the heck's going on? Everything besides my computer is still on."
Exactly what you're going to be proposing.
I looked
Working
down,
with
I was like,
Secretary
"Oh."
Reedy, state law enforcement, and representation from the governor.
I have a PS2 also.
Through the chair of the council, there
Yeah, well,
is
I have
no
a
barrier.
PS5,
That's
so.
why we have.
I do too.
The Worcester
I have
Detective
every
is
system
actually
because
sworn in
I don't have any kids.
as
So
Yeah, well, I have like
master
2 of every
regulator
system, so.
authority, so they can go
oh, my
anywhere in the
uncle,
state,
he
actually
knows a guy that
go
works at
100.
Nintendo, and he
That's
said
why you
that
also have the state
the new
police
Switch
on.
is going to be released next year.
Thank you. And, in this report also speaks to some of the strategies that are being referenced, some of our youth programs. I know we're going to get into this next week, but in the equity audit, it talks about the higher percentage of young folks that are coming into interaction with law enforcement and who are engaging in activities against their fellow community members. Through the chair to the administration, as relates to community policing, can you give us kind of the latest that's going on? In addition to that, I would, pertaining to, the tactics that are being used, would like to kind of know, what are we doing different? Through the chair.
Through the chair of the council.
Pertaining to youth.
I'm sorry.
Pertaining to our youth.
What?
We are starting up the youth police dialogues again.
Okay.
That's one thing we're doing. We also have.
Those will go well, seeing as how we arrest them almost exclusively.
They have to listen to us. We locked them up. They're
We
a captive
typically do
audience.
we do the dialogues right after the Miranda rights.
Along with our AMP program, Arts, Music, Police Partnership. We also participate in the City of Worcester Youth Violence Preventative Initiative. And that would be the last one. And that Youth Violence Preventative Initiative basically encompasses all resources together so that we can reach out. The school department's in there, DYS is in there, probation. Parole.
I'm saying, I've been a youth
That way,
before.
everybody can put together.
If a
whatever
police officer were to
resources
try
we
to
have
dialogue with me,
and collaborate on how we can
that would
help.
not go well.
But in my opinion, the best.
I'm doing a
thing
kickflip off his
is,
cop car.
Something you grew up with. If you're busy, you'll stay out of trouble. So that's one direct result.
Excuse me, young sir, would you care to have a
And the
dialogue about
resource
our race
router
relations?
program that's referenced here.
No,
that
idiot,
in
fuck
the
off.
case was the police department adopted in July of 2021.
I
It
don't,
talks about
when this
crime
happened,
forecasting
when cops was going to come
control,
here,
task
and
force
then the
management
city like
systems.
agreed to it and then backed off of
Is
it.
this what we were
There was like a
referring
pretty
to
big
previously
scandal
as Shot
about
Spotter,
that.
Shot Spotter Connect, or is that something different through the chair?
Oh,
They maybe
correct. It was
sued the
Shot Spotter
city.
Connect.
Something happened.
Now it's Resource Router, same
Okay.
program.
And how are we measuring the effectiveness and efficacy
That
of
is
the resource
100%
routing
not
router
true.
program? Not speaking specifically about Shot Spotter right now.
You must be a
so I'm
little
sure
kid.
delineating and differentiating. But in terms of this particular program that we're
Jesus
employing,
Christ.
it talks about crime
We're
forecasting.
the dumbest country in the
and
fucking
the
world.
like. How
People just
are we
say shit.
quantifying and qualifying its efficacy through the chair?
Through the chair of the council, every week we have a commanders meeting on Thursdays. And one of the things we do now, and seeing
What
that
do you
we're
do?
down 63 officers, the amount of dosage that was taking place in those boxes that they had to go to, that were, so they had a map that they had to go to a certain location. Since that came down to how much time you have to spend with down officers, we put the program kind of on hold until we could beef it back up. So within the
good.
last 6 months, every single Thursday, the captain of the precinct comes in, he'll explain, or she will explain, how many minutes or the percentage of time spent in those areas. We are now doing an analysis with the crime analysis unit, and they're going to tell us where everything is dropping. So within the next few months, we're waiting for all the crime stats to go through the
Colleen
Records
West is in the
Bureau.
chat on Facebook.
So you have the federal crimes. Then they could actually tell us what percentage everything is. So I would anticipate within the next 3 months, we could have an exact number of what percentage of crime dropped for those offenses that should come into contact with that program.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would like a
What the heck?
motion that we get a report.
What does that
specific to the
mean?
Research router program that outlines its efficacy in qualifying and quantifying.
What was he talking about with the little
pertaining
boxes?
to crime forecasting.
I don't know. My
and
eyes kind of
other
glazed over.
related,
He was trying to dialogue with me.
management systems
That was way too much dialogue.
with the intent to improve
I would
policing,
love
Mr. Chairman. You know, one of the concerns that
to
I
get Colleen to join us.
referenced back when we were looking at this was,
I'm gonna ask
I know
her.
there's a human element to all of this. There's a human
Last time I
element to
asked
policing.
Red Metro to come on,
And
which might
we
be
do
Colleen
have
for
a
all we know.
crime
She
analysis unit.
definitely has the login.
You know, we have
I
AI,
got banned for 12 hours.
intelligence and things of that nature. And my concern has always been about eventually migrating towards losing people in the department. And I know we're not there. I know that's not the intention. However,
See, she has
that's
me
a
blocked.
major
I can't
concern.
tag her.
You know, and I don't think you can replace the human element of crime analysis. You know, one of the concerns has always been over policing of neighborhoods, you know,
Same.
not
I'm
intersecting
blocked.
with community, making sure that when we're in those hot spots and we're in those areas, that we're engaging with partners. And the last thing I would say in regards to the spotter program, Mr. Chairman, would like a report back on the efficacy of that as well, along with related statistics. I often read in the newspaper that ShotSpotter was activated and police responded.
I'll just
I
ask
would
her.
also,
I see her walking all
outline
the
in that
time. She lives
report,
really close to me.
you know, times when that has been in accord with community reaching out.
It's fun. It's fun. I toot my
partners
horn and I
reaching
wave
out
at her when I
and
see her.
notifying the
She has no
department,
fucking clue. It's me.
as well as
She just waves.
ShotSpotter doing it on its own. I know it's part of that's in this report. Indicates the instances when there was only a ShotSpotter auto activation and a subsequent response, but would like a full picture of all of that, Mr. Chairman. The last thing I'll say is this, and I say it every year, you know, our crime statistics are what they are. We know that here in Worcester, one crime is one crime too many, right? Because it hurts and impacts and it violates. And I'll say, I've said this every year I've been on, that we as a city should never, ever simply hang our hat on crime statistics, Mr. Chairman, because it's how you are engaging and operationalizing our law enforcement as a city. Because we know there's a lot of things that impact crime. We know that access to resources, mental health services, funding, the economy, all of those things
Fully
have
agree.
an impact on crime and police.
If you say enough,
community
eventually you're going to make some really good
So
points.
it's how we police, how we engage, and how the community works with us as a city.
Cast
and
a wide
doing
net.
exactly that. And I'm not implying that that's being stated by.
It's more
And
I
you
mean,
know,
I
here
get the
just
approach, and
highlight that
sometimes it's
each
really
and every
effective.
year,
But asking city
is
officials
that's how
questions
we
that you
do
already know the
and go
answers
about our
to
business. And, you know, I look forward to next
makes
week
it a longer process
exploring
than
a little
just
bit of
saying what
that
the answer is.
based on our equity audit.
This isn't a court of law.
But,
Yeah.
you know,
You don't
we
need to
know that
walk
there's a
them
lot
into,
of intelligence that's
like,
gathered.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it really works.
Sure.
But like doing
when
it a
we were
lot
speaking earlier
is
pertaining to the guns that are on the street and connecting them to other
Spiny, how old are you?
crimes.
Are you
in
12?
Worcester and in Worcester County. And
Are
it's
you
that
the most
intelligence that we
like
rely on
the most
to
precocious
inform and help
12-year-old
the
in your
community.
class?
So
Oh,
we'd
you're
like a
26.
report
Okay.
back. I continue to
Sounds right.
have questions on the efficacy of this. I know that in other communities, in other large cities, they moved away from
No,
funding
I don't
these
think it
sorts of
is.
technology
They just
and put that
seem
funding
young
elsewhere in
and
law enforcement. So
dumb and
just would like a report back on all of that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Mr.
fine.
Chairman.
It's all fine.
not dumb like
Can I
in a
just cheat this
derogatory
one real
way.
quick?
Like
Yeah,
dumb
through
had the way
chair of
we all were
council.
when we were 26.
One thing we're starting April 1st within those resource router areas is a community engagement patrol. So instead of officers sitting in the parking lot somewhere, they're going to be tasked with walking, going out to the businesses, talking to people. They will do an activity report when they're done, which will indicate to us where
Oh,
they
neat.
went and
That
what they
sounds
did.
fun.
I think
Are
that's
they
a
write it in
great
crayon?
program.
Thank you, Chief. Councilor Ojeda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And speaking about the police dialogues, I was a part of 2 of them, and I think they went really well. It was a great opportunity to, like Councilor King said, more of that community engagement at the youth level. In the beginning, obviously, both parties didn't know each other, the youth and the officers. As those weeks went on, they were able to build really good relationships and understand more of the law.
Thinking about being the cop that gets volunteered for the
what's expected
race
of them
dialogues,
as
you're just
youth
like,
in the community
fuck.
and stuff like that, but also what officers, what the youth understand as far as the law goes and, what they can and cannot do or how officers can treat them. Through the chair to the chief, is there a way we can continue those dialogues? Because one of the key things at the end of each session, the students wanted to do more in their community, right? They wanted to bring that back into the community. I can't remember if it was like a 6-week to 8-week session, but they wanted to do more. They really wanted to build it out because they really enjoyed working with the officers. And again, back to Councilor King.
Is there a question in
that
here?
community engagement. I feel that's important, as a counselor, especially in District 4. I think that's something that's important that we need. So how do you see that playing out if that's a possibility?
Through the chair to the council, absolutely. I mean,
don't think so.
That's one of our number one
What the
things
fuck
we want
question
to
is
do
that?
is to form that relationship.
Donna hasn't
with
spoken
the
yet, but you
youth
can see the gears
so that
turning.
later on,
Well,
that-
she's just
that
really
pays
worried about
dividends,
Kate.
right? And by teaching them those things that they may not be learning in school, again, is another positive. So the department is well up for whatever you want to bring forward, and we can definitely do that.
Thank you. And,
Do you have a dip
through
in?
the chair. So, to the chief.
Not gonna snooze.
And speaking about the foot patrol, the foot beats, the parking walks, you're saying they're going to collect in some type of data, correct?
Through the chair to council, that's correct.
Activity
Okay, so,
reports.
Would
That's not data.
Will we be able to have access to that, or how would we know this is being impactful? I think that's a great idea. I think it's important for like we said, humanize the position. The kids understand that, officer in front of me grew up in my neighborhood, and it's good to develop those relationships. But I think it's important to see what type of relationships are being built, what kind of conversations are being had.
What
again,
fictional cop do you
being
have in
on
your head right now?
Safety and public health is understanding how can we take those conversations and grow them out to enhance our communities and our city.
Chief.
Through the chair of the council, the officers will be required to get an incident number. So when they go out there, they'll have an incident number just like any other call. And then they will fill out a form. In the community engagement patrol will be 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
It's 100%
depending
what
on
will happen.
What they have going on. And that's the same amount of time they would be spending in those other areas. So I think we'd get more bang for the buck doing this. And there would be, within dispatch, they would make a notation where they are with the incident, and all that data would be stored within the PD. And hopefully soon we get our new RMS system. All of those things can be correlated. So we have more information. Right now, it would actually be paper.
Uh-oh.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief. So send that. Okay, we got next. Dr. Castillo, I think you're up. So we have Transmitting Information Communication of the summary of impact of COVID-19 in Worcester. Particular emphasis on the hotspots.
Andy,
Just
what do
wanna
you?
thank
What's the
Dr. Castillo
sidebar?
and UMass Hospital. We send out to public health. Is that okay? Okay. All those in favor? Postal.
Who's she talking to?
And we have recommendation adoption of amendment of the organizational ordinance.
Go back to the other shot. Let's see the other shot
Creating
again.
Division of Youth Opportunities, reduce the membership of the advisory committee on the youth.
It'd be so sick if we had our own control of the
For a
city
hearing.
hall
Get
cameras.
that back
Oh
to
my
us,
God.
Mr. Chairman, and
Imagine during public comment, it would just be
All those in
on
favor,
the
opposed,
city
so
councilors the whole
supported.
time because they do not
Yeah.
listen.
Nope.
Transmitting
That was cool of
information
that
we are
one
on
speaker from last week to point that
8.32A,
out.
Transmitting information communication of the status update on cities list the current and projected tree planting funding, resources, and priorities. This is another good report, so we'll send that to Parks. Those in favor, opposed, so ordered. 8.35A through C, these are the finance items. Take those
Oh,
on
we are
roll
cooking
call.
right now.
Roll call.
Councilor Bergman?
Yes.
Councilor Florio?
Yes.
Councilor Gia?
Yes.
Councilor King?
It was just
Yes.
they
Councilmember
transmitted the
Carlson?
report
Yes.
Councilor Yan?
on the COVID
Councilor
impacts.
Hayda?
They had no
Councilor
appetite
Yes.
to talk about it, so they just
Yes.
sent
Mayor
Dr.
Petty.
Steele packing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Transmitting information communication.
And
of the
everyone
police overtime
was
and
happy with
off-duty
that.
Detail audit report for the Worcester Police Department.
I can find. I have the
Thank you,
report
Chief,
pulled
and,
up, though. I
the
will
auditors,
send
I
the
think,
link in
with
the
COA
chat.
and,
I didn't find it
Councilor
particularly
King.
interesting, but there might
Thank
be
you,
something
Mr.
in
Chairman.
there.
I look forward, I'm assuming this will go to MLO. Last couple of terms, we were tracking this particular matter as relates to police overtime.
What the
I know
hell?
that prior to this report and the work that I had done in the past, that we were looking, we were waiting for the city to incorporate and integrate, their new HR systems to improve things, in terms of this particular matter. In going over this, there was a number of things that have been implemented over the months. And
Yeah, that link should work. Let me
you
know if it
I
doesn't.
certainly appreciate that work. I do have some questions from the report.
Which one are we on now?
And
Overtime? We're in
I
overtime?
guess the first question is there any particular reason we haven't moved to an app-based system for overtime, for streamlining?
I haven't read this report yet.
Overtime, if that's being
Let me give it a
provided
quick
and being
skim.
accessed. I know that in my research in other police departments, they've done exactly that. It makes things easier. It ensures, like I said, equity and tracking. So my first question is, through the chair to the administration, where are we at as relates to a mobile app or a web app for overtime with the police department, through the chair?
Mr. Manager.
Through the chair to the councilor, we're currently right now reviewing a new product, a new system that the police department is a CAD RMS system that the police department has been involved in. We've been reviewing it. Deputy Fleming's been leading the charge and reviewing it.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I just couldn't understand. You said I couldn't understand. It was muffled a little bit. What
So
system?
It's a CAD RMS system. And so we were reviewing multiple systems across the nation to see what is best suited for the city. We thought we had one that we felt comfortable with, but there were some challenges. But then there's a new one now that we've been exploring. And like I mentioned, Deputy Fleming has been kind of leading that effort and working through that.
Man,
There's
doing
some
these
movement now.
these
I believe
audits
there's
is a
some,
racket.
Review that's happening through an agreement that they've provided.
I would be so curious to hear how
this
much they
system is
made for
integrated
doing
also
it.
with the fire department and communications. So it's a combination of all three departments. And so it's part of
They
the
took
process that
one
we're in it right
trip
now. We got a
to
long
the
way to
police
go in
department,
terms of transitioning
observe
fully
the
our
processes
current system
for
into this
20
automated
hours.
system
So
that
let's say
has more
generously
capabilities
3
and
days.
abilities to explore. I
They
don't know if
wrote
they
a
have an app
19-page report.
associated with it, but that's something
And
that we
I'm
would
going to
need
say
to
this
explore.
is in the
Thank
ballpark
you.
of $100,000.
It looks here like part of this audit, there is recommendations. On page 15, where it specifically recommends new tools and metrics for monitoring irregular activity and reporting time and attendance information. And it lists at least three web and or mobile apps: Officer Track, Detail Commander, Police, DTS, to manage details over time and attendance. Because, you know, what jumped out at me was, you know, when this investigation began, we're using, seemed like a log book or something like that, some sort of process that appeared to be less technical, using less technology than you would expect in these times.
It's a polite way to put it,
Indicated
Christian.
that, you know, this process began, I believe, was it March of 2023? There were interviews. Can you just speak to when this exactly began? And then in addition to that, there's a number of resolutions or action steps that have been taken as relates to the concerns brought up here. And I'm just wondering, you know, do you have a time frame from when those occurred? Did this begin in August or March of 2023, or was it prior to that?
Main South Mom, that's not what they're called, actually. Cambridge changed the name of them.
Mr. Manager?
It's a slutty little
slutty little K95.
I know there was
that is the technical term.
Interviews in March of 2023, almost a year ago.
I just
with some of the officers. I'm just trying to
read in here that there was apparently a big problem with overtime slips with blank vendor
Through the chair, to the council, I can't give you
sections,
the exact date. I don't
meaning
recall
they
what the exact
didn't
date was
write
that when they
down
enacted
what
or
the overtime
requested
was for or
the audit
who.
to happen. I know the auditor's here. I don't know if he has any information.
All right, so we've all had jobs before, right? I see someone doing that at my job. I'm going, hell yeah.
So the audit,
He's scamming the boss.
Started, I think, February 2023.
Straight up.
It went
right.
It went for
Unfortunately, there's no
ago.
solidarity with cops.
And
they're just wasting our public money.
They conducted a
I
lot
got
of
in an
work,
argument with Rick Cipro on Facebook a couple months ago. The first time in a long time. The last time I argued with anybody on Facebook.
August,
because he wanted people to support the police union as a labor union, like in the guy, like under the guise of like labor unions. Like doggy.
I think it wrapped up
nah.
somewhere in the fall.
And then he called me a bad Irishman.
Wow, that's people
I'm
have to
just
throw that at you,
finalizing
man.
the report between October and when it was issued recently, just probably.
Oh, that's who is yes.
But
We think
yeah,
we
it was done
just
in the
nobody.
fall.
Did you bring
Yeah,
this up
Mr. Chairman,
before?
I'm trying to
I
figure it
feel
out.
like
So
we've
we're
had
talking
this
about, like,
discussion before and we
approximately
didn't
5
get anywhere
months or
satisfied
so
with it.
ago.
I know exactly what you're talking
and I'm
about.
just-
It's gonna drive me crazy.
Sure.
Which guy? This
To
guy?
the chair, yes. The first draft was
what's his
provided to the
face?
administration sometime October, November, and through that first draft, we
A little bit, but I don't think that's exactly
to
it.
try to finalize this document, and eventually the document was finalized and brought forward to us in January. I've held on since January to bring it forward because I wanted to bring it forward with everything, all the audits that we were working on the police department, and so I wanted to have a comprehensive discussion.
Yes, that the one and the same.
Thank you. I'm sure this will be discussed in committee, so I'm not going to get too much into the staffing. There's, you know, when this report indicates staffing has a bit to do with all of this. There were some concerns about some of the comp time that was in there. I just had a quick question for clarification. The categories job well done and time carried over that's been discontinued in terms of comp time. Can you just explain what that is through the chair?
Who's that? Mr. Manager? Or Chief?
Can you repeat that question again, please?
Yes, indicated in this audit that comp time, compensatory time. Was that there was a large value for fiscal
Good for him.
2022, and that after discussion with Deputy Chief Fleming and Ms. Troyo,
Walter Bird's boss.
I hope I pronounced that right.
Worcester has its
decision was
own
done
Better
to
Business Bureau.
Discontinue job well done and time carried over categories in comp time. So I'm just
This
trying to
is,
understand. What
I don't understand
those
this, and
categories are,
it
what
is
they're used for.
very troubling.
I agree.
Time is if somebody did not use
This is very
allotted
lascivious
vacation or
seeming.
days, you would,
The
like,
train
you
station
know,
is
flip
looking
'em over,
nice.
did away with that. Job well done day had to do if an officer did an extraordinary feat, act of heroism, we would actually give him a day off.
Okay. Okay.
You get second 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The other recommendation pertaining to the department instituting clear disciplinary consequences for signatures, submitting of overtime slips off, so that signatures and submitting of overtime slips and off-duty slips are taken more seriously. Has that been meted out? Do you have a policy or procedure? Have you engaged in collective bargaining regarding that? What is the latest? It seems like that was something that they were really pushing for through the chair.
Through the chair of the council, right now, there's two different
Yeah,
agreements.
it's
that
like
we
a
use.
credit rating.
One has a roundup, one doesn't as far as hours worked, the 6 hour to the 8 hour. So we're trying to work that out now, but as far as everybody's been notified, as far as signing slips, who has to do it, if there's no signature, you need, sometimes you would go to a pay detail, for example, and the person you're working for is no longer there at 7 a.m. when you started at midnight. So you would have to look for another person to sign the slip. If they cannot find that person, they would have to write a note saying that person was gone, or it would be unsigned. So we're working on that now, and a lot of that had to do with private details. We met with the treasurer and Mr. Stearns, and we are in the process of making electronic a lot of that, as far as people calling in details and whatnot, as far as an email system, basically cleaning everything up to the best of our ability now until this new system can come in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I think there is a lot of cleaning up that could be had here. I strongly recommend that that the administration rules out or rules in some sort of an app for all of this. We're talking about some.
There's a funny little cliff note in this report
in a system where
that heavily implies that some superiors were approving their own overtime.
Things, and I certainly think that
it reads.
The recommendations that are towards the end.
This should be done with consistency in the department and added to the policies and procedures. And there's a footnote 13. Footnote 13 reads, no officer or official will approve any overtime expenditures for themselves.
That they did.
All overtime slips must be fully legible. Incomplete or illegible overtime requisitions are not to be entered into the payment system.
Locations or whoever sign off.
Seems like you wouldn't add that note if that wasn't an issue.
Is that a requirement?
But it is very funny to omit it from the body text of the report and put it in as a footnote.
Accepting an explanation that's written or noted attached to that overtime.
Chief?
Through the chair of the council, right now, if you cannot find that person, then they have to provide a note or email indicating why. So we can't, if no one's there, there's no way to get another signature.
Okay. And regarding the private details, there was a recommendation that a written policy be invoked that there's not a written policy on page 7. It indicates that. Is there any steps being taken towards developing a policy pertaining to that through the chair?
Through the chair of the council, that's correct. Again, we met with the treasurer and we went through with the Office of Innovation and Technology, and they're writing up a program right now so that if nobody should have a private or permanent detail per se, meaning if you're going to hire me and you do it all the time, there needs to be an electronic transaction through the detail office, not through the officer. So that in itself will clean things up a lot.
They were doing Venmo?
One of the things that jumped out at me as well.
Yeah. Just text me. Send me a Venmo. We don't need to get we don't need to get everyone else involved.
Requiring offer assistance.
That's awesome.
Officers and shifts
That's
that are
wild.
all filled with overtime. The examples they listed included school overtime, officers at school for pickup and drop off. And I know I spoke with you just a few minutes ago, trying to understand that, given the fact that we
Why is that overtime?
I don't know exact SLOs, I don't remember the exact term for that, who do some of that work. Can you just clarify why it is that we would be paying overtime in those situations where I was under the impression that the SLOs or SROs were part of that process or system through the chair?
Through the chair of the council, that's correct. They only work 8 hours per day, and
Good one,
school
Barry.
drop-off is
Good one.
prior to their tour of duty, and then it would end afterwards. Being down so many officers, we
That was
can't
an
always rely
very
on calling
incredibly
the
good
officer
first-time chat.
to provide any
Well
type
done.
of traffic at
Great
that
pun.
school. So we want to make sure it's filled. So, and this has been going on for a couple of years now, that we would offer that to the SLO because they're most familiar with the school, to be there early and stay late.
And
Can you wrap up your comments too?
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like a report back on that particular matter, since I don't have the time to go any further. Would like the administration to take a look at that and see if there's a way that we can perhaps do something a bit differently there. I know there's only a finite amount of SLOs or SROs, and I'm not sure how they decide which schools they go to.
Thought we didn't have
there's a
SROs anymore.
rotation, so we'd certainly like to look at
Not
that
in
and also,
schools. There can't be.
ensure that
There
they're
can't
just
be
hovering on
stations.
the
Yeah,
proper
like
resourcing
predators
there.
at the gate.
I do have concerns if in fact the root officers can't be of assistance.
Same restrictions
Look
as
forward to being in
sex
committee.
offenders.
I'd like to make a motion again that
Have to be at least 500 feet away.
Rule in or rule out a mobile app and or web software to help with administration of overtime, and it should intersect the three.
Wow. That's such a
departments
huge
that were
change.
that were referenced.
That's
Worcester
amazing.
Police, Worcester Fire.
I mean, it is better, honestly.
No, I know. I'm not making.
Yeah,
Send that to
but
M-
it's not.
O,
Yeah, I mean,
to the manager on the.
That's not what we were
information.
promised when it was
Ordered.
announced. I'll just put it that way.
8.39B was held. Under privilege, 8.39C, recommend authorization to file a petition with the general court to exempt the position of chief of police and deputy chief of police in the city of Worcester from civil service.
Oh, Joe's gonna come explain himself.
listen, they let a lot of unsavory people into the schools to read books. Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, sex offenders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I just want to thank the manager for the report, and
Thanks, Jess.
I just want to thank the police department. The reports have been under the microscope, chief, and the police department with the 2 audits coming out today and the future audits coming out, and I think we've done pretty well with them with some good suggestions there. But on this is the manager's recommending that we take the chief of police and deputy chief.
Yeah, hell yeah, you can.
Service. I know last year I asked the manager to look at all the alternatives, and you took your time. You did a good job seeing what other jurisdictions are doing throughout the state of Massachusetts and really in the country. So I do appreciate you.
Yeah, it's a good thing they didn't talk about it at all.
And there's some good reasons that you state why we should take them out of civil service. You know, it gives you more discretion of who you want to appoint as chief, and even as the deputy chiefs in the future. And so I think that's important. And also it goes into the report, and we all know some of the challenges with civil service and how that's, and some of the lawsuits surrounding civil service.
Yeah, Molly, I'll hit you up.
I do have a question.
We have somebody else that's
captains,
interested in
I
helping
think,
scan too, so
who,
we can probably divide up the work
maybe enroll-
and
taking
make it
deputy
not
chief
so tedious for
test.
everybody.
Is that going to be honored, or can you,
Mr.
respond
Manager.
to that?
Through the chair to the council, that is correct. There are captains who have taken the deputy's exam and gone through the assessment process. And so that list is an effective, I believe, 2 years, 2.5 years.
We use details at work all the time, and when their shift is up, I always make sure to disappear, so they have to come chase me for the signature.
Yeah, this item here is it's an extremely important item for the city. It's also a historic item for the city. There's many communities across the state and across the nation, but particularly across the state, that have removed civil service process for the selection of the chief and deputies across the state. Worcester is taking that step and that recommendation today.
So that's what makes it historic, that we're doing something a number of other communities have already done.
It also comes from the support of the police department.
This fucking
It also
guy.
comes from the support of the folks in the community who we've spoken to, many different community groups. And now, I know there's been a lot of conversation.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot too.
Service completely from the department.
I just talked to a department today about details, and they were telling me about like, oh yeah, just call the number and then they'll schedule it. I'm like, all right, do you guys do a lot of details because are they going to show up if I schedule them? And he's like, yeah, they definitely will. And I'm like, that's never been guaranteed to me before.
Civil service completely from a department that size and that large is not a small task. I know there's other communities across the state have done it, but you're talking about 15 or 20 officers within that jurisdiction. Here, we're talking about 400 officers or so. And so it's a big task, but this moment here, and what we're doing here for the chief and deputies is an important moment, and is an important step in the right direction for our community. And again, we have a great leadership here in the city with the police department, and I look forward to future years with them as well.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. This is important to the city. It's important to the community.
I don't have Cash App.
And
Is the
I
only
do
problem.
support your recommendation.
They typically prefer straight cash.
Forward, I think, with some good selections in the future for managing with the police department, which would be going great lengths to helping our community move forward. And not to say anything, civil service, there are some reasons why civil service went into place. One was to keep politics out of the government.
Well, let's
And
get
so we don't
politics
take
back
that
into
lightly.
it.
But I think taking these two positions out.
You know what happens when you take politics out of government? You fucking don't. You just don't.
Mr. Manager, I just want to thank you for the report. I support.
You can't
this.
do that.
Again, this is it is
What is there? Sorry, I again.
You just make it easier to lie.
But Eric Barista starts talking, and I just zone out. What is their reasoning for wanting to get rid of the civil service?
He just made some sort of vague overture to the fact that it's helpful. He didn't really explain why, but he also said that it was a historic decision because a number of other towns have already done it.
Thank you, Mr.
I was under the impression that
Chairman.
civil service was
wanna
good,
thank the city manager
but
for this.
I'm maybe.
Appreciate him honoring.
The thing about the cops is they don't like having their hands tied.
Right.
Writing.
It's hard to do nepotism.
Forward, Mr.
It's hard to do tribalism with the civil
I do
service
want to
exam.
say that this will also right some inequities that we've had. You know, when we talk next week about the equity audit, we'll talk about promotions and things of that nature, and I look forward to that. This is not removing, just for clarification, any positions other than
There you go.
the chief of police and the deputy chief of police from civil service, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to the vote of this body.
Again, not
we've
like
had some discussion.
not
previously
surprised
from
that
this.
that's
This
the
will
case.
allow us
It's
to
just
have,
funny how the dialogue, you don't hear much about it except that like for years and years it's like, oh, this helps equality, and then
Oh, whoops! It hurts
everyone
equality.
everyone got new information. And that's good. I mean, it's good that if they're making the switch, if that's the case. If the police are pushing for it, then
Councilor Bergman?
Yes.
sometimes I'm
Councilor
skeptical.
Yes. Councilor Haji?
Yes.
Councilor King?
Yes.
Councilor Carlson?
Good to know.
Yes.
Councilor Nguyen?
Yes.
Councilor Ojeda?
It's almost like it was a
Solo?
Yes.
technocratic
Councilor
solution to a
Russell?
cultural
Yes.
problem.
Right.
Yes.
Motion to reconsider, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to reconsider. Roll call.
Councilor Bergman?
No.
Councilor Floyd?
No.
Councilor Haji? Councilor King?
No.
Councilor Carlson?
No.
Agreed.
Councilor Nguyen?
A culture
Councilor
that
Ojeda?
wants to maintain its
Solo?
inequities
Councilor Russell?
will not be foiled by a mere standardized test.
Well, and that's the other part of it too. Like, okay, if the civil service exam doesn't work to prevent inequities, then what do we do? What's the safeguard that's in place when you get rid of the that you're going to try instead?
So I appreciate the report.
Yeah, that's not coming up.
Interesting.
In favor, opposed, so ordered. 9D, city clerk transmitting request.
Oh, 9D?
To authorize the city
We're
manager to
cooking.
submit the attached statements of interest to Massachusetts Building Authority that were approved by the Worcester School Committee on their March 7th, 2024 meeting. I'd like to send that to the manager for detail back. Councilor King.
After this, we're on table of underprivilege, baby.
I
That
support
means
this wholeheartedly.
all the stuff
I had a
from.
quick question to the chair,
Oh
to the
no,
administration.
Christian, don't do this.
How do we anticipate this impacting the Burncoat aspect, the Burncoat High School aspect of it, attaching this to the chair?
So, Mr. Manager.
You're asking, how does this impact the
I think this is the correct
It's
analysis.
funding.
I mean, we'd be happy.
That's
to
what
give
I'm
you a
going
report
with,
to
too.
give you a better perspective, but it does impact it. It's
Right. I have no reason to
component
believe that there
expands
aren't
now the
issues with
cost
it.
of the project itself.
But
and so that cost is
I don't know
something that,
why.
we would have to take into consideration as part
I don't
of
know
our
why
decision
I'm
as a body
skeptical
when
that the
we,
police would be so
could recommend
gung ho
the
to get rid of it if that was the
such,
case. So that's what I'm confused
there
about.
are other projects in line that also need some support and need some enhancements in terms of the schools. But this does, one of the impacts is the cost. But also, I think one of the impacts, to add, one of the impacts is also a positive thing is that it impacts that neighborhood, that community, because right now those schools have some level of attachment in terms of their systems. So on a positive note, it will give a new perspective on both ends to the entire neighborhood and community in Berkeley.
Oh, there you go.
If the
Mr.
cop union
Chairman,
wants that as a general
I'm certainly
rule, it's
excited
not
about
good
this. I was over there
for the
meeting
city.
with
Right.
the,
That's enough for me.
civics
If Rick
class,
Cipro is into something,
a
I'm
couple of
against
weeks
it.
ago at Burncoat Middle, and it makes sense for that campus, I guess, for lack of a better term. So, look forward to moving this forward. And I look forward to really again getting an idea of what we're doing on the other side of the city as well, Mr. Chairman. So I know East Middle's is in District 3. And that's a place that we're also looking to do. And there's been a lot of schools that we've done. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to quantify as we move forward with anticipated maintenance of facilities, school facilities and buildings and costs. Is there going to be a cost savings in this sense? So if we have projects for Burncoat Middle because of the condition of the school.
They will not.
Projects already secured funding.
There you go.
For Burncoat High School or Burncoat.
Of course,
Middle.
Neil wrote about that.
Is it gonna
Good pull,
anticipate
Vic.
any savings that way? If that makes sense through the chair.
Mr. Manager.
Through the chair to the council, that's tough to kind of analyze because the cost and the debt of Burncoat may outpace the actual maintenance that it requires for Burncoat. But that'd be tough to determine right now until we do a further deeper dive analysis on the cost. But we do understand that the schools right now have a big need in terms of infrastructure, their buildings. And you mentioned East Middle, my alma mater. I do understand that that school definitely has.
You can't call a middle school your alma mater.
There's an
That's
opportunity here
perverted.
where we can
I
build
hate
something
that.
newer, and hopefully that can last us in quite a bit of a longer time.
Well, I
We
graduated
also
from
need
it.
to figure out how do we take care of the other buildings, and I think this body here was very supportive of the stabilization.
I almost wasn't allowed to go to my middle school graduation because I got into a fight 2 days before it.
We will potentially be incurring as part of the maintenance of our school system.
Thank you. I look forward to this. I also look forward to the creativity that will be employed as relates to funding all of this as we move forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Russell?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to hold this item,
great.
and I'm going to hold this item, and I'd like it to come back with a report as to what's going to happen with East Middle School.
Okay.
Because
It's already been tabled.
Over the weekend, we saw so many postings on Facebook of Doherty and the old Doherty, the Doherty that's going to get knocked down. And you know what? That building that we're going to knock down looks like new construction compared to Worcester East Middle School. The building that we're going to knock down looks like new construction compared to East Middle School. This
that's a
has to
good
be
point.
on the table with a conversation of what's going to happen in the short term and the long term with East Middle School. So I'm going to hold this item. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can we hold the project? It has to be in by April 1st, so you need to come in with a report next week.
That was my question, Mr. Chairman. Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could you just state what the time frames are? Could you just state for the record?
So basically the.
George, what do you think you're accomplishing
that
by
was
holding
the code
When are they
junior
tearing
being
down the old
next
Doherty?
approved on the list.
Well, there were a number of Facebook
Timeframe
posts.
is the submission to the
Right at the
MSBA is
end of
April
the
1st.
school year?
So it gives us a week for next week to make a decision. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're gonna
That makes
send-
sense.
Instead of holding us, well, we can hold this, but also get at request of manager to come back with a report for next week. Okay. Mr. McGurthy. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Okay. We are on tabled items under privilege. Communication City Manager, transfer information, communication relative to the Housing and Neighborhood Activity Report. You can refer that to ED. And that's again, Mr. Dunn, thank you for the report. And hopefully in this report, just real quick, it's really detailed on the AMI if people want to look at these. And it's not 80%. There's all different projects here. Some are 80%, some are.
George Russell, I know that's not
50%,
what you were
some are
saying, but George
30%,
Russell
some are
Realty
20,
wants
some
Eat
are
Middle
60.
is
There's a number of
pretty
projects
funny.
that are around 30 to 60%. And so I just want to let people know that the administration.
That's a guy who
even
wants
though
to
the
eat middle.
rules are not in place
That
yet,
motherfucker
that,
eats middle
there are
like
developers that come in. And,
nobody else.
Take their responsibility seriously. So, and Mr. Manager, then Councilor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I want
To
George
the
Russell's
mayor,
head on
one
Cookie
of the
Monster
things
saying
that,
George Russell
I'm
wants
most
Eat
proud of is
Middle.
the work that the Economic Development Office has been doing around housing. And one of the things that we embarked on right away was to try to bring all the housing strategies under one umbrella, and have a real comprehensive reporting to try to show a progress over time. And just recently, the governor was here and at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and giving kudos to the city of Worcester and the administration, and especially Peter Dunn and his team for all the work that we've been doing around housing.
I haven't started yet. I was
not
trying
only
to.
preserving,
I want to
but
binge
also,
the whole
production of
season, so
housing
I'm
as
trying to
well.
hold
And
off.
not
But I
just
desperately
market
want to
rate,
watch
but
it.
also permanent supportive housing and all the other
I might give
elements
it a
as well.
spin.
So I just want to give credit to Economic Development Team for their continued effort, because they're.
It's not the first
they're working
adaptation
hard.
of that
They're
book.
a small
I
team,
don't
but they're a
think.
team to reckon with, because they're doing a lot of great work and they're monitoring a lot of money.
What book is
Federal
it?
money, state money,
Shogun.
to make sure that these projects are moving forward.
It's the same, it's kind of the same story
thankful
as
for them,
Last
and thankful
Samurai
for the
in
work
some
that the entire
ways.
team is doing.
Right.
Thank you, Councilor King.
If it
So
is
it's
also an
looking to get
adaptation
a
of it.
report back on, I know I've been reading the newspaper a little bit about some of the projects that have been paused or perhaps are being adjusted. So like a report back on that, please.
All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. I'm going to send this report to Economic Development. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. So 10B and 10D, we can take collectively to hold, and we need 4 votes to hold it.
I watched a really
10B
good
and 10D.
new anime on Netflix recently.
Roll
And
call.
now
Councilor
I
Bergman?
cannot remember the name of it for the life of me.
Council Bergman?
You're
What was it about?
faster than I am.
The Blue-Eyed Samurai. There we go.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Blue-Eyed
Those
Samurai.
items, or can you
It's,
give me a
it's
chance?
Okay,
very,
I'll
very
read them.
good.
Okay. 10B
Original
is,
story, as far as I know.
resolution by Council Ojeda that the City Council, City of Worcester, does hereby support House Bill number
I've heard great
2356,
things
an
about
act relative to the problem properties enhancing fire safety, filed by State Representative David LaBeouf and Patricia Duffy. 10D is filed by Council Toomey that the City Council, City of Worcester, does hereby call upon the state legislature to fully enforce and
Didn't we
enact
say we
any
were holding
required
10D?
legislation to
I
ensure
thought
full
so.
sentence be mandatory for illegal possession of firearms.
Thank you for assisting.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilor Bergman?
Yes.
Well, guess not. That's cool.
Councilor Gia?
Yes.
Councilor King?
Yes.
Councilor McCall?
Kate's going to be so pissed.
Councilor Yan?
Uh-huh.
Councilor Ojeda?
Yes.
Councilor Pasillo?
Yes.
Councilor Russell?
Yes.
And Mayor Petty.
Oh, they're voting to hold it a second time.
Okay,
That
brings
makes
us to
sense.
the end, the table items. Anything
Gotcha.
want to take off the table or file?
Mr. Mayor, sorry, 10C to withdraw.
Look at the towel.
Oh,
Already got
sorry,
a
I
coat
missed that.
on.
Thank
Ready.
you. So
I love
10C,
it.
the motion
I love
is to
energy.
withdraw. That's a National Grid item. I'm going to withdraw that. So all those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
That's the energy we all need to be carrying into this council term.
End of the meeting. And-
Just get in, get out, expect
Okay.
nothing,
Wait till we get the
try to
table
do
items for
nothing.
next week, and maybe we can clear up those. A lot of these are old and out of date. If you want to, maybe we can clear them up. Okay. Okay.
Everyone's
Okay,
like, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
everybody
whatever,
have a
Joe.
nice week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.
He stole our line.
To adjourn.
Hey!
In favor, opposed, so ordered.
That's
You
our
dick.
line.
That's our line, Joe. Oh, he did that on purpose. Just
You
to,
see you next Tuesday.
yeah. First he says no. He says he can't attend the roast. Now he's stealing our lines. I'm on to that guy. I'm fucking
Piece
on
of
to that
shit. No
my
wonder.
God.
No wonder Dan Rassicott quit your office.
Yeah.
He's the only one with balls.
You never deserved him anyway.
He's too weird for you.
Yeah. You're too cool. Oh, this is a remarkably boring meeting.
Yeah.
I guess that was whew. I really have no. I got nothing to say. Honestly,
I don't either. Honestly,
Yeah,
it wasn't much.
I think we all watched it. We all had our own little takeaways, and
Yep.
that's. I think definitely I'm writing about something besides the city council this week. That's for sure. I mean the racial equity audit in the agenda that wasn't talked about is actually interesting. But I think it's actually good that we got some more time to break that down. And have that be the focus next week because
Yeah.
God, I just can't wait to see Eric Batista try to make that argument in public, dude, about how it looks worse than it is. That our rates of arresting Black and Hispanic
Sin.
teenagers.
We're just arresting so many kids that it's really fucking up the stats.
Right. Yeah. It's not that bad because we're only arresting kids. Man.
It's kind of amazing that like they're even getting part-time pay for the work they do.
Yeah. That's a very, very cinch way to make $30,000.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm running.
Yeah, we should just run. Like,
I'm gonna unseat
vote for
Jenny.
me. Vote for me if you think the city council is useless, because I will be completely useless, and everything will go on as continued.
Vote for me over Jenny Pasillo. I'm actually committed to chaos.
Chaotic evil.
Yeah.
Chaotic evil city councilors. One day we're like, let's hire 400 new cops. The next day we're like,
but they're all children.
Right. The next day we're like, let's blow up every single dam and culvert in the city and let water flow the way that Mother Nature intended.
Release the water.
Release the water.
Cascades.
Yeah. Let's suspend the municipal sewage program. See
The
what
poop
happens.
thing must flow. That's
Yeah.
true. We if you guys, the more you guys support us financially, then the more we can afford to do terrible ideas like running for city council. Look at that. Do that. Get involved.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to get involved.
Stop treating this whole city like a damn trash can, even if it is often,
Right.
and put public trash cans so that there's less trash in the city.
Yeah. Put
Oh,
your
I
nips
got an
in your
idea for a
jacket
slogan.
pocket.
Keep the trash in the council chambers.
That's good. That's good.
Right? You guys can use that if you want.
Yeah. What's
Yeah,
a good
get in
slogan?
there. Get in there. do some actual good. Go to Nitty Council. Yeah, I don't have much smart to say beyond the fact that this was a fun time to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
And I strongly support everybody going to the Roast of Worcester on Friday night, 3/22 at the White Room, where Crompton Collective is. If you've never been there, it's a great little spot. You gotta check it out. It's free. It's free to attend. You have to pay nothing to attend. You can go and have a great time. If you want, we're
Unless you're
collecting money.
Julie.
Yeah, Julie must pay. Julie must pay.
hundreds of dollars.
We can no longer let Julie get away with this. She must pay.
That was the one takeaway from tonight, actually, is that Julie is apparently a menace.
Yeah, we need to find out who Julie is and bring her to justice. But click on that link to find more info about the Roast of Worcester. We're raising money for Compassionate Care ALS. It's a incredible organization that helps people who are diagnosed with an extremely bullshit disease that sucks and is a scourge. So we'd like to raise as much money as possible for it. Joe Petty couldn't be bothered. Can't get it up to come down to the roast and hear a lot of people he doesn't know talk a lot of shit about him. Coward.
Coward. Stealing our line. Not showing up at the roast.
I exist in the world where people are constantly talking shit about me. So, step it up, Joe. I would I cannot be there on Friday. But I will have jokes to be read, and I'm going to write some terrible ones because I don't have to stand up there and say them. So I'm hoping to get Shaun to say some almost actionable things on my behalf. Again, it's free. It's absolutely free. So
It's gonna be a good time.
hang out. It's gonna be a great time. Bill's gonna be there. Great lineup of roasters, including friend of the show Nelly Medina, and the most sweetest boy that works at Coney Island, Eric James Incas Franco, will be there as well. So get in there, follow Wootnitty Comedy for more details on that if you like as well. And we're going to try and stream it here. If you can't come down, we're going to try to. No promises, so don't count on that, but we're going to do our best to get that done. So you better.
We'll get it done. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. It's gonna be fine.
It might just be a phone on a tripod, but we'll make it happen.
Whatever, who cares? Make sure you're subscribed to Worcester Sucks and I Love It. BillShaner.substack.com, WorcesterSucks.email, at Worcester_sucks. Bill, did you care to give a little preview of what you're working on right now? Anything you want to tease to the people?
Not yet. No
secrets. You gotta subscribe to get the secrets.
Keep my secrets. Keep my secrets for now.
I love it.
But my posts have been coming out on Sundays lately.
Sunday
morning. Read
follow us WCT 3000. Pray for Kate. She's having her funny bone implanted because somebody can't take a funny joke. Subscribe. Who re-upped tonight? Main South Mom, Jessica Stamped, both re-upped tonight. If you like, if you want to, if you have one, you got a few bucks to spare, gift a sub so that other people can join on the fun. That maybe are a little low on discretionary funds right now. So if you're not low on discretionary, there you go. Go pick up some litter. And then after that, buy a shirt. WCT3K.storynv.com. We're selling shirts. We're adding more shirts all the time, and we're selling classics. And Bill, email went out for book club.
Yes, book club is starting next month, April 11th or the 18th. I will be sending another email out this week to solidify the date, but we're going to be reading chapter 1 of 8 Hours for What We Will. So get reading, folks, and then we're going to have a nice conversation coming up.
Hell yeah. I won't. I'll try, but I don't think I will. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, hanging out, having a great time. To quote my favorite mayor of all time, we will see you next Tuesday. We love you, everybody. Good night.